Forward. Here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom. And we have our special guest today, Amrita. How you doing?
Feeling incredibly honored and blessed to be on here as your special guest.
It is an honor to have you as a special guest.
Oh.
Because without people sharing their stories, nobody would know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an honor to have everyone be a part and share and continue. That's why we do these every week, and we continue to invite people to share their stories because it's so important. The support system is crucial in today's day and age, where everybody's doing the complete opposite of what we're, thriving and trying to accomplish here, and eating less and enjoying the fasting lifestyle much more, specifically master fasting. But this is why we're here. So maybe you want to share a little bit about your history, maybe your upbringing, what kind of lifestyle, diet,
Got here.
how you came to find MFS.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. Just gonna see what rolls out. So I'm an Irish girl born in Ireland, although I'm living in Australia last 10 years. It was one of those absolutely perfect accidents to find myself here. And anyway, so yeah, born in Ireland, was very lucky. Our mom didn't feed us junk food and things like this. You know, I was the only kid who hadn't tasted a fizzy drink. But we still had the old Irish diet, like lots of potatoes and meat, and the wheat cereals was kind of like the main diet, the kind of sugary cereals and the milk and all of that.
All the ones that most of us grew up
and
with.
one thing, yeah, totally. So it wasn't the worst, but you know, it was the standard, I guess. And one thing I was just remembered, like just before we came on this call, was that when I was a really young girl, I had this. I'm a bit emotional today because it's just so gorgeous outside after the rain, overflowing. When I was a young girl, I had this. What's that?
Are you having some internet challenges?
Oh, am I cutting out?
You're freezing. It's showing your internet's in the red. So I don't know. Are you on a Wi-Fi?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might try and get on my phone, which sometimes picks up the internet a bit better. Let's try. Yeah, we're still having internet problems with some smoke in the air.
I see your signal just got better right now. It went back red. It's going into the red back and forth.
Coming and going.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lag, but your voice is coming through. As long as your voice comes through, we can continue.
Okay. So just let me know if it's cutting out too much.
All right.
All right, take two. So yeah, one thing I was just remembering, as a little girl, I had this really strong connection to God. And I remember very young even going to mass on my own and asking my mom, could we have rosary beads to pray together, and such a deep connection. But then that was the kind of beauty of the child space. And then of course we moved home, we moved many schools, and I realized life was actually hard and challenging. And then I started with the peer pressure, and that's kind of when I started realizing very young that stuffing down food numbed me, and then getting into the alcohol and all the partying. And I really got into, I was, a good Irish girl. I was the drunkest person that I knew and proud of it. But at the same time, there was always this prayer to God to say, please help me stop partying. Like, I'm having fun, but I know I need to stop. And I ended up just packing everything up and taking out a big loan and going traveling. I just knew I had to get out of Ireland, and traveled for a couple of years around Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, and learned a lot about just having to let go, particularly in India. This is how it is, just let go. And during that time, certainly had no concept of what it was to take care of health, and health was certainly getting worse. At one stage, like, my hair was falling out and I had really bad fatigue, but I kept on drinking and keep going, and eventually found my way to Australia, and worked really, really hard to pay off my loan, where I became a really more intense coffee addict, at about 6 coffees a day. And I was really struggling with my health, but it kind of seemed like nothing that you really discuss. Just, it's normal, isn't it? That everyone kind of has health stuff, it's just normal. I remember, like, it would take me 2 or 3 days to even begin catching up on sleep. My system was like so stimulated from the caffeine. And then I always had this feeling in life that something really good is going to happen to me, but I didn't know what. And so in order to get my visa renewed, I needed to go to do some farm work in some, like, rural postcode. So I opened a book and there was an ashram. So I thought, well, I don't really know what an ashram is. When I was in India, I was sure it's just for, like, really crazy people. But I thought something was calling me. I knew what working was, traveling, partying, relationships. I didn't really know what meditation was. I had done a little bit on my travels. I didn't know what it meant, but it was really calling me. So I said, right, let's do this. And of course, as soon as I arrived, I thought, oh my God, it's a cult. What am I doing here? But it was pretty much, you give up your phone, your computer, and just working on the land every day, getting into the body, doing meditations from, like, silent sitting to, like, crazy cathartic ones to, like, heart meditations, and just being together as a group. We cooked from, like, wood from the fire, and we collected our rainwater, and it took me about, my plan was to stay 3 months, get the visa and go back to the city. But after, I just didn't look at the calendar, and 6 months in, it took me 6 months to realize I was full of shit. Because kind of being the party girl, the life and soul of the party, it's like, sure, I'm fine, I don't have any problems. And we would do these meditations that were, letting go, cathartic ones, and everyone else is kind of screaming and punching the pillow, and I'm like, what's wrong with all of you? Like, I don't have anger. And I remember the day that a bit of anger came up was, like, so scary. So scary. I thought, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I'm kind of sharing a little bit of this background because it kind of gives a little bit of understanding that where I am in Masterfast now is not just because, I have this, like, discipline to fast. So the journey in this ashram, I actually ended up staying for 7 years.
Wow.
And was not the plan. While my friends are getting married and buying houses and, proper pensionable jobs and things, I'm naked by the creek, jumping around rocks, and just being with a whole different level of nature. And I really learned how to garden. I learned how to connect with plants, how to use the plants in the food that I learned how to cook. It wasn't very intense there at times, because normally we can just escape a situation when it gets a bit too uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point of living there was that we don't escape and that we have to face it. And wow, did I fight, facing a lot of things. I actually got married there. I got divorced there. It was a huge, huge journey. I also began this journey from girl to woman, what that means. Because before that, I had been, all the makeup, and in Ireland, we love the fake tan, so I thought I looked gorgeous, kind of like orange, and the hair done. And, in this ashram life, no makeup, like didn't even brush the hair. And, we're getting our hands into the earth every day. And it started to come forth, like, what is woman? From girl to woman, and realizing, oh my God, all my clothes are girls' clothes. And a very, very, very deep journey. And my marriage there certainly triggered the depths of, I would nearly say, like poison in me, and so much kind of hatred and nastiness was just coming out of me. And that's the beauty, I guess, of deep relating. And I was very, very lucky to be surrounded in an atmosphere of nature, where I could move through my emotions by working on the land. Like, I would scare all the men there, like out there, like digging big holes and big garden beds, just working through my anger. And to be surrounded by an air of meditation as well, to have these opportunities to, what is it to just be with the most basics of emotion, our tears, our rage, our laughter, our bliss, our grief, to actually just be human and to be with these emotions. And that journey with my dear ex-husband, which I thank him very much for triggering all this, it burned me right down, burnt me. And I remember thinking, I'm either going to die or be enlightened. This is so intense. And neither happened. But I always thought that I could give up everything in life except for him. And so when I lost him, I was still there. And it was an incredibly deep journey. I looked in the mirror one day, and I had all these open wounds on my face from just the state my body was in, from carrying so much hate. And, I got the message, you have to learn to love. And I thought, oh, what's love? I completely forgot what love was. And I said, can I love everybody except for him? And existence said, no, darling, you got to love him too. So it was a very, very, very beautiful journey of, really learning what love is. What is it called? Like the true unconditional love. What level can I love someone unconditionally? And such a deep healing journey. And as soon as I got that message about love, I just put him out of my picture. I stopped trying to fix things and just really, really went deep into my own world. And that's really when I began a deep connection with the plants, because I felt they're the only ones who won't judge me. And it took a long time to kind of regrow a little kind of sprout of Amrita, a little seedling. But that's now grown into a tree that's fruiting, but not yet in full fruit. So anyway, as my time in the ashram went along, I kind of became ashram mama, and kind of taking care of everyone and everything, and organizing all the work. And sneakily I'm having my coffees in the morning. So I've got this energy to go, hey, everyone, let's get on with our day. And just, wow, we were vegetarian there. So we did our best. We had a lot from the land, but it was still, community, big pots of rice and porridge and, oh God, community hippie food. A lot of like cheese and eggs and bread. And so my system was getting very, very clogged up. I found myself not being able to feel rested. Even after a full day in bed, I still felt exhausted. And I didn't know why. And for the last 2 years that I was there, I really felt like I wasn't living my life. I was just existing for a good cause. And I have read a little while ago that chronic fatigue can actually be our creative energy, our love energy, just turned backwards. It doesn't have that outward expression. So my body was getting heavier. My legs were like these big, solid tree trunks. And I forgot to mention that from around 12 years old, 13 years old or so, I was starting to get heart palpitations. They would just come and go. I also had my tonsils out around that age. They were like big golf balls. Wow. And so like already at that age, the body was getting clogged up. But like I said, people don't really share about kind of the little things happening in their body. They only share if it's a big thing. And so during the ashram years, I'd get times of heart palpitations. They'd come for a week and then they'd go, and I didn't really share it to anyone. I thought, it's kind of the Irish martyr, like, oh, I'm fine. And so then it came the 7-year mark. I thought, oh, I'll just stay for 7 years. It's a full life cycle. Let's just do it. And I felt by the time we reached the 7 years, it was complete, beautifully complete, not one thing left to complete. And I really learned from that. Because over those years, many times, like I ran out with my passport going, oh, I hate this place. And I knew I had to go back to complete it. So I found in that energy of completing that it was easy to unfold what the next steps were for me. And as I left the ashram, I had a place to stay for a month. Suddenly I'm back into the world of paying rent, making money, feeling so incredibly capable and talented from my time on the land. But in Ireland, I worked in corporate and did a very bad job of it. So I didn't know what to do, how to make money. And within 2 or 3 weeks of being out of the ashram, the health just finally crashed. The heart palpitations got so bad. I was blacking out every day. And I was still getting on with things, going, oh, I'm fine. This Irish martyr mentality, like, oh, I just blacked out, like, oh, I'm grand. And there was one day where I could feel, it was like a drum beat, and the drum beat was getting faster, and I knew something was about to happen. So I brought myself to the hospital, to the emergency. And it wasn't until my heart was going crazy on the heart monitor and all the doctors were running in and putting tubes and patches and everything that I thought, oh, I think this is a bit serious actually. Oh, then I had to go in an ambulance to another hospital where I had to stay for a little while, to the cardiac ward. And I didn't think I'd have to stay, so I brought nothing with me. No phone charger, no book, no pen and paper. And I wasn't allowed to go on any walks. I had to be supervised because like I'm a heart patient. And this was a beautiful, a very humbling experience. What's that?
At what age was
that? That was middle of 2017. So
that's in Australia, right?
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah. So I think that was around 33. Okay. And I had to sit in that hospital ward for those few days and just actually be with myself. And when they told me I had to stay, and I was like, no, I'm too busy. And then I had to have such a laugh at myself, like typical heart patient. Big cosmic joke. And as I just shared to you on the post for this talk, I had just released my album called Message from My Heart. And now here's my heart saying, listen to me. So those days in hospital, I just literally sat there. I was presented with, I don't even know if you call them food items that I haven't seen, since the 80s. And I just knew I had to get out of hospital. And I was asking the doctor, why is this happening? And the doctor was like, take your medication, have your operation, you'll be fine. I was like, but why? Like, is that not a question to ask? And so they filled me up with medication, and I really didn't want to take it. I hadn't taken a paracetamol in like 10 years, been living the nature girl life. And my soul just didn't want to take this medication, but I had to. So they sent me out the door on the medication, come back in 6 weeks for your operation on your heart. And within around 10 days, I was in a deep depression. That medication was just really weird realms. It was affecting my memory really bad. It was affecting me, and just, it felt like this kind of alien energy around me. And one night I was in bed, and the heart was doing this different type of palpitation, a different style, a different rhythm. I was thinking, what's the point of this medication? It's still doing this rhythm. So for the first time, I looked up the side effects, and one side effect is new irregular heartbeats, alongside with, possible sudden death and those kind of things. It's just like, all right, this not working. So I threw the medication in the bin, and because that was medication to suppress the heart, I mean, during those weeks I was taking it, I could feel the energy wanting to move through, but the medication had suppressed it. So all of a sudden, this suppression was lifted, and this backlog of a crazy heartbeat was there. And I really felt I was going to die that night. It was very humbling, because I was sure I was just going to die peacefully in my sleep. So I was just really faced with this. I was on my own, and it was a very deepening experience, connecting to like my ancestors, or to like tribal women. How would they pray? What would they connect to in times like this? And I had to use all of my willpower to stay calm, to be with the breath. And I remembered hearing that cayenne pepper can be an emergency help for a heart attack. So I was like, oh my God, have some. So I was spooning it in. And by the early morning, things had settled. And so I was quite shaky. And then I started going, right, well, I'm going to actually, because I just kind of presumed before this that you just go to the doctor if there's something wrong with your health. There was no kind of taking responsibility. So I started then going online, like, what could be the cause of heart palpitations? And I know there's like so much, crap on Google, like, you find out like you're actually going to die. But in between that stuff, the first time it was like, of course, my gut is completely clogged up. My adrenals are completely burned out. It's like, yeah, right, look, this is a start, this is something. And I actually felt I was dying. I could barely get out of bed. It was a very, very dark and struggly time. And so I started changing my diet a little bit, just cutting out the most obstructing foods. And by the time I came for my talk with the cardiologist guy, I wasn't feeling good, but I was feeling a tiny, tiny light. And I said to him, like my heart is really precious. I've gone through a lot of shedding in ashram years. So I need to be sure if someone's going to like burn marks on it with the ablation procedure, that it's the only choice. So I just shared with him that I've been changing my diet and I'm feeling a little bit better. Could he give me 3 months to just continue this experiment with a healthier diet. And if there's absolutely no change, then I'll come for the procedure. And the doctor actually says to me, you people down there where I live, you love all your healthy eating, but you need to take your medication and you need to have this operation. And he says to me, I don't need the business. And I was just like, is doctor advising me against a healthier diet? Like, what's going on? So I just said, see you, doctor. Bye-bye, good luck. And I was absolutely elated driving home going, yeah, we're done with the medical system. You. And then when I kind of got back home, I was like, right, well, where do I actually start? You know, I tried the traditional Chinese medicine and the Ayurvedic paths, which is all about like warming the body. And my spleen was also really swollen. It was like this massive sausage in my belly. I thought it was going to burst. It just, yeah, so continued on this diet, and somehow I actually really learned how to pray during this time. Like when the whole heart and soul is like, universe, I really need help. I really, really, really need help. I don't know where to go. I give up everything. And then Master Fast shows up somehow. I don't know how, but there it was. And it was immediately like, yeah, this is it. I got to do this. So I knew I planted the seed, but the thought of fasting was like, literally scared the shit out of me. But the beautiful thing was there was so much repressed that just this solid decision that I'm going to fast already brought up so much. There was times when I had to curl up in the couch and just cry and shake, and that was already the shedding. This was already the power of the fast. So it was about 3 months just kind of lightening my diet, kind of in and out of, oh, I think I've got energy. Oh, no, I don't. Back to bed. And it was Valentine's Day 2018 that I did my first Master Fast. The best Valentine's Day gift I could ever give myself. I did 21 days, and oh, that was big. I was really like in unknown territory. It was like, whoa, every single day I was like, oh my God, I'm fasting, I'm so aware I'm fasting. And it was big, big, big. My body was so obstructed.
You did 2 liters with the at the beginning, right? You did 2 liters of enemas, and that was
yeah. At the beginning, I like, for me, just getting on the juice was like, oh my God. I didn't understand the power of more enemas. Yeah, it was like 2 liters a day.
Especially the heart. When it comes to the heart, it's the kidneys.
Oh,
the bowels.
Totally.
The kidneys are blocked because the bowels are blocked. From my understanding so far. So the kidneys are blocked because your bowels are blocked. The kidneys affect your heart. And with all the medications and all that stuff, I mean, your kidneys were stressed, you know? That's why your heart was
totally.
You really had to like wash as much as possible. Yeah.
Emotion seed. Go back there.
Yeah.
I had tremendous heart palpitations. My dad had heart murmur, and he got refused the army in Italy when he was young. They told him he wouldn't live past 25 or something. I can't remember. This when he was a young teenager, and he passed at 79. But I had taken on that strong heart murmur and palpitations, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, fasting and everything completely pretty much disappeared. If I go on heavy foods, or if I introduce strong chemicals get through me, I'll start feeling traces of it. But otherwise, it's gone.
It's been exactly my experience too. Between fasts, eating the more obstructive foods ends up. I'd love to go back to that doctor and say, hey, check me out, no operation. But my time is precious, so Yeah, so that first fast was pretty huge. Like I said, I was really walking in the dark, but it was the power of prayer. It was literally, I felt like I was dying. So it was like, I'll do anything, whatever it takes. And I had a few really beautiful enema releases, plaque, and each release I had to kind of lie down for a while and kind of integrate what just happened. Like, who am I without this? I've been carrying all my lifetime. And it was the beginnings of understanding that although it had been my physical illness that was the calling for me to fast, ultimately it was a spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
pretty huge.
Yeah, you want to get closer to God,
The
right?
day, absolutely.
As a young girl.
So kind of finished that fast. I knew I could have gone longer, but I was a bit scared. I was like, okay, we did 21. We'll stay safe for now. And then the eating disorder, of course, flares up like crazy. Start putting on weight. I lost a lot during the fast, and like, you know, all these years I've been like, oh, I can't lose weight, blah blah blah. And so what I realized, I had to catch myself and say, Amrita, if you're going to be obsessed about weight going up and down during this journey, it's going to be an absolute mess. So I called on all my strength and I gave myself permission that for the first 2 years of this journey, I let go of the weight. Let it go, let it go. And then it was time to do the second fast, not too long afterwards. It was time. And this fast was 28 days. And what was interesting, during the whole fast, I was really hungry. Towards the end of it, I was like, oh, I'll just have this bit of greens from the garden. I'll just have a little tomato. I'll just have a little mouthful of this soup. It won't affect the detox too much. But, you know, it was the emotions coming in strong. And then after that fast was kind of the crescendo of this disordered eating. It was a big time, a big kind of bingy disordered time, but you know what, I see the perfection in it. Absolutely perfect, because I think just knowing that this is my lifestyle, this is my journey, I'm not giving up. It's not just I do a fast and then, oh, look what happens. That I'm continuously now tuned into it every day, whether I'm fasting or eating. And during this kind of quite intense time with the food after that second fast, I really, really acknowledge that it's not about the food, it's energy. It's energy that's gone the wrong way. It's energy that needs to be released or held or heard. And it was a beautiful journey of bringing awareness to that. And sometimes I couldn't do the perfect thing.
Sorry, how long was your longest
Yeah.
fast? Was it the first one? Like the first...
No, the longest was well, it's this one, I think. But before that was around about 49 days or so.
So now we're fasting.
Yeah.
How many days now? More or less.
It's around, well, yeah.
About...
Sorry.
Sorry?
It's around, I have to check the calendar. I can't remember when I started, you see.
Oh, it's okay.
So,
A month?
yeah, it's around.
About a month or so?
Yeah, it's
More or less.
it's definitely past the 40s anyway. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And after that kind of I don't know, we call it falling off the wagon, but it was a really very deep journey with the energetics behind eating disorder, if we want to call it whatever, but just really deeply connecting that it's just energy, and realizing at that time I'm actually being really hard on myself and my heart is really closed. And I would just go to YouTube, 432 heart opening meditation, and put that on. And it was like, that's all I can do. That's all I can do right now. And beautiful. It was just as I was becoming really beautifully balanced with food again. Existence goes, you're fasting now. Start. I just got in a balanced place. And so what's happened now is that it's no longer coming from feeling really sick, the call to fast. It's the message, boom, now. It's not when I want it. And so this was my first 40-day fast. And this was the end of last year, around October. And it was absolute bliss, divine experience. And I feel even the tears coming now, because when I was really sick, I announced to friends, I'm going to do a 40-day. I don't know how. I have no idea how. It doesn't even one day didn't feel possible then. And just everything is possible when the intention is strong, the prayer is strong. So that was just so incredible. And then after that, I just began a beautiful chapter of having just a lovely kind of healthy connection with food. Yeah, sometimes I ate too much and sometimes I ate the obstructing stuff, but just a beautiful, I think it was just really important, the in-between fasts, to just let it go a little bit and ease off and play and enjoy. And then I did another 40-day or so, and that one I felt I just could have gone on and on. But what happened is I was in Bali and I got quite sick and I had crazy fever, and I was like in a stressful situation, and I couldn't get out of it because I didn't have the finances. And so what I did is like, I'm going to end this fast. I'm going to have a salad, and it's kind of self-destruction energy. But there was something in that salad that wasn't the best. I don't know, washed in the local water, and my body was in a big purge from that, which was absolutely
fruit for breaking. Yeah.
Oh, but it was even more than that. It was some kind of bugs or something in the water. But I saw the perfection of it because it was the energy, the calling out that I need to get out of this situation. I had 3 days to kill before I did a training. And I was like, I don't know, I need to get out of this town I'm in. I hate it, but I don't have the funds. And so I called out for it, and, existence brought it home. There, you spend the 3 days in bed with your fever and just absolutely purge all of the stress, all of the worry. And so I couldn't find grape juice or any juice in bottles, and so I just was on the coconut juice and started the training, and it was very intense. It was morning to night, and I still had like the diarrhea every 20 minutes. So it was like, okay, just break the fast now, just leave it, it's okay. And then this beautiful one has arrived sometime in November, and just kind of right back where left off in terms of just beautiful connection to the fasting.
How long are you thinking to go with this one?
I don't know. You see, I started by telling my mind we're just going to do a 21-day little cleanse just to get into it. And but it keeps seeming there's like, there's a season change where we're going to go till then, and then we've got this full moon, and we'll go to we've got this new moon, and so I don't know, we'll just see. It's incredibly beautiful.
And after this one, you said is it level 4 you mentioned? You're thinking level 4?
Yeah, now I think it will be maybe, I really, at this point, it's just so crazy, like, to look back on this journey. But I really feel that food as just the enjoyment of it. This fast, I've been going to the gym until day 30. I had so much energy. And I was like running faster than I've been running eating, and I've even been like lifting weights. And the main reason why I stopped, and I think I'm the only one there, like on the juice, like not on protein shakes, and But this fast has been very, very deep. It's begun to allow access to something that has that's been very deeply repressed in my body. That although the mind may kind of forget or repress a memory or forgive or move on, that the body really remembers. And so I've been really getting the message now to kind of move deeper into embodiment, into breath and to stretches and to much more time in nature. Yeah. So I don't know, I mean, I'm looking forward to eat. I would eat already, but the system is just like, no, just no. Yeah.
We've been
But
eating
I think,
for decades,
yeah.
and we can continue to eat for decades. So there's no shortage of eating.
Yeah, exactly. And at the beginning of this fast, just like all the delicious mangoes and papayas, like everything's in season. So I kept buying boxes of it and freezing them for when I finish. But I've just actually stopped that now because it was like, well, I don't know, we'll just be in the moment now. But certainly I feel it's been an incredible kind of naturally evolving, maturing process in understanding the depths of the master fast on so many levels, and the importance of the tools. Like I do a lot of gut washing every day, and so important. The herbs are the tinctures are like my cosmic connection friends. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how's the heart feeling on this fast? Have you had any sensations?
I think there was a day when there was like a bit of fluttering in the morning, and then it clears with the enema.
Yeah.
With this fast, I love that picture that there is of like master fast system chipping away, the bigger body, and then the smaller one inside kind of chiseling away. And I feel it's just so interesting because I've lost weight physically, but the main weight I've lost has been like emotional, kind of energetic frequency weight. And it really does have to be lived, to be experienced. I feel like as the cells clear some of that gunk out, I feel each cell has a soul purpose as well. Each cell has even its little personality, and then they begin to be able to reach for their own soul purpose, even if it's a liver cell or a heart cell or a brain cell. And just as this switches on a cellular level, kind of what comes, it just, at this point I don't have much words for it in this fast.
On the dry fast, because we do also feel heart palpitations, like many people do, on a longer dry, especially the monthly one. Do you feel anything?
So dry fasting, like longer dries, is what I haven't mastered yet.
But you have 2 days or 3 days, right?
Yeah, in 3 days. I did have some heart palpitations. At the beginning of my fasting journey, I had a lot of dizziness, seeing stars and everything like all the time. So a little bit of that in the dry fasting as well. But I'm so accustomed to heart palpitations now and dizziness. It's a well-known friend at this stage. Yeah.
So this time around, when you did you do a longer dry or not yet?
This time around, I've only done 2 days.
Yeah, and
no, all good. All good. Yeah. But I begin to really see see the connection between like I'll have some kind of emotional thing or something brewing. It might not even be that obvious, or some connection with someone. There's just something in the field. Then I'll begin to get some physical symptoms. Could be the heart palpitations, but that it seems like the physical body and the emotional body, it's whatever other bodies, kind of becoming more one. And that, yeah, the enema purges, the heart purges as well. And it just seems to pass.
That's great.
Yeah, I think a lot of the palpitations as well was my heart actually needing to purge some situations and some people in my life that just wasn't healthy and not serving. Yeah. Yeah, I really deepening the journey and trusting that whatever is arising in the body, that it's arising to come to balance. The trust is coming so deep into that, and growing the trust for when the emotional things arise. That's the trickier one to to trust in that. But this particular fast has been very, very deeply all about maturing the trust. We've had some big waves here of a lot of heavy emotional stuff coming up.
Yeah,
growing deep trust.
as we continuously go on this master fasting journey over the years, we become more and more mature, the word you used, and the understanding more and more starts coming through, and the trust starts getting stronger, the faith starts getting stronger, because we've gone through the experiences and seen how the soul can make profound changes. It's the only thing that does in our physicality, in our mental and emotional bodies. In autopilot, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to know how it works. We just allow the process with open arms, embrace it, and enjoy the ride. And it's amazing to do that over and over and over again. And then, the understanding is there. It's not something that we have to dissect to figure it out. And this is what so many people struggle with, including myself, for so many decades, searching and searching and searching and searching and searching, more and more confused and spiraling outwards, more and more and more. And until you let it all go and go inwards and practice that art of subtraction, that's where everything starts coming through and shining brightly. There's nothing we can add. There's nothing we can add. We come from the light. It's complete. It's such an amazing space to be in, and the knowing is there. That information to pass it on to others, we find the most challenging because it's done through the experience, and everybody wants to know who, where, when, why, how. We don't have those answers. It doesn't matter because we don't need to know, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I feel that, well, I speak for myself. I've been in so many layers and layers of obstruction that to understand that less is more, that we don't need to add, we need to subtract. It was just so far from a comprehension, because I feel also wherever our bodies are vibrating, we're kind of tuning into that kind of radio station channel that's available as well. One thing I was just thinking of there is that at the beginning of this journey, I wasn't the best kind of advertisement for Master Fast. I was like, oh God, and all the gut stuff, and I'm so tired and everything. And why are you doing this? Oh, it's for my health. And like, get off the grape juice. But it took maybe about 10 months of really being deep in this journey for like a substantial shift to happen, where I didn't even notice that my physicality had changed much. I felt a lot of light coming through. And I feel that's the back and forth journey has been that during the fasting periods, there's parts that just move forward so much into the light body, into the connection to God, to life. but there's parts still like, no, this can't be right. Sure, everything around is saying something different. And integrating, I know there's parts of me. I remember actually looking in the mirror maybe about a year into this process and just seeing just so much beauty looking back at me. And I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, this is me, but it's been under so much all of my life. Yeah, it takes time for all parts to catch up and kind of really own our beauty and our divinity, and just really honor who we are as ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, every journey will be unique for every single person. Every fast will be unique. It's just how the
Absolutely.
process. Yeah,
It is beautiful.
you're
Yeah.
doing great. Awesome.
Thank you.
So much. Yeah.
I'm so grateful for you guys. Continued support. I just wanted to share, was some time ago I reached out and Gino, you answered within a few minutes, and my message didn't make a whole lot of sense, but you answered within a few minutes, and at that moment I just felt this like cosmic heart connection to just go, oh yes, I give myself to this process. And this, like, I don't know where else, it's just so supported and held, and that's apart from the protocol itself. It just makes all the difference that you guys just continue to show up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It's the calling, and we continue as long as we can. We'll keep going because I haven't seen anybody else do it, and I haven't seen all this time anything but focusing on diets and supplements and everything addition. That's all the focus is out there. So
Yeah.
it's a whole new understanding, and without support, people just go scrambling back to addiction. That's what we see over and over and over again. People are still discussing diets. We're done with diets. Diets are futile. Choose the least obstructive diet to have fun with, and that's it. Don't worry about the diets. Focus on the fasting lifestyle. Focus on the art of subtraction. Diets aren't important. If you eat a very heavy obstructive diet, fasting won't be fun for you. You're gonna know because right? We don't have to tell you. For somebody new, it's good information that we share. Like, you do this, you may pay the price, and you may cease to exist.
I mean,
after
it's
a long
good
fast.
it's good to have the information about obstructive and the least obstructive food.
It's really that simple.
Because you went through 30 years to learn what's the most obstructive, what's the least obstructive. There are newbies who have absolutely no idea. So the protocol for breaking the fast is very important.
Yeah.
And the diet between fasts is very important.
Yeah. And as you move on through the years with the experience, you're gonna know. Like, and you fall off, whatever we all do, and you go through that experience, and you go, oh my goodness gracious, is this what this food feels like?
Yeah. So it firsthand. Yeah.
Right. So that's everybody that's gone through this and experienced these different foods and shared it. We all have the same feelings. Yeah. So the knowing is there. The body knows. It's not like it's only the people that have not done their homework. They go through that and they point fingers and blame everybody and my mother and so on and so forth for everything because they're not doing their homework to understand what it takes and what is part of the process. And falling off is going to be part of the process for 99.9% of the people. It just is. It's part of the process. There's so much.
Yeah.
No, nobody's perfect.
So much emotions that we carry through our ancestral, history that it's not going to change with a snap of a finger. I'm not saying it can't, because everything is possible. Things can happen instantaneously, but for most of us, we're going to have to do that legwork and allow these emotions to come to balance. Because once they do, the physicality takes care of itself. Bang, bang, bang. You don't have to think about it, and that's the beauty. And that's why we see so much magic unfold and transformations and healing and regeneration happening, because it's the emotion that starts changing little by little by little. And you know, that field strength starts to rise, and the physicality goes, thank you, I can work now. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the game changer, just understanding about obstruction and flow.
Right. Right.
It's just it. And even when I have an emotion coming up, even when I'm fasting, okay, I haven't put obstructing foods in, it's obstruction. A couple of days ago, my body was very painful and achy and tired. And I thought, oh, it's obstruction. And then a big emotion came up, and
Release.
so it's really beginning to come to me that the natural state is flow. It's a sense of well-being, and then these things arise to clear.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple.
It's really simple. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
You know, we just learn to embrace it, live it, love it, and just continue and continue and continue, no matter what. Once we start listening to the monkey mind, that something's missing, and we go out there and we start searching again, back to full circle, back to spiraling out to confusion again. We've seen it with so many people. And like I said, you can't force somebody to come to this understanding.
It's one step at a time.
Yeah.
It's one step at a time. That's why we have 7 different levels. You choose your own pace. There is no force. Just take your time, go at your own pace. You know your lifestyle, you know what you can do and what you cannot do. But have fasting part of your lifestyle and clean up the diet in between fasts. Simple.
And when you're ready, go for a long digestive vacation.
Or not.
Or not.
Or not.
Some people.
I mean, if you're honestly like doing something like 4 days a week of master fast, that's not easy. To be consistent,
yeah,
months, I want to see that.
That's over 200 days a year.
You know, because the whole journey is about patience.
Right, Steve?
Consistency. It's about, I mean, honestly, like living the lifestyle is the hardest part. It is not fasting. Living the lifestyle is the most
yeah.
Unless you want to go liquidarian, that's another story. That's another story. I feel even if I want to become liquidarian one day, I believe it's easier for my whole body, physical, emotional, spiritual, everything, to do it slowly as well. Because it's too much of a change too fast. Not only for me, but also for my environment, my family. It's just too much. If we're doing it slowly, you give everything around you and yourself and around you time to change. It's either you want to be gentle or you want to be forceful, you know. This is how I see it. Yeah. So I believe it's just go at your own pace. It's not a competition. Well, if you if you want a competition, you know, I mean, no, it's not a competition. If you want that challenge, then challenge yourself to stick to a lifestyle, to the lifestyle for 6 months. Yeah. If you want to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself to stick to the lifestyle for 6 months. That's what I see.
Yeah, that's really
2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
People just want quick fixes.
Yeah. Start with 6 months.
We all want quick fixes.
People just want to do the But you know, it's such a humbling journey. You know, I'm fine with this being a lifestyle and for things to unfold as they're ready to be unfold. Because now I'm in a much, I'm in just such a better place physically, mentally, emotionally, that it's all good now.
Yeah.
But very humbling, you know, as you continue the lifestyle, and oh my God, I fasted for this long and I still have this issue. Like, come on. Very humbling, and yeah, then beautiful. There's so many layers to each issue. And like you were saying, Gina, about like the ancestral stuff as well that we're carrying too. It's a big journey.
Yeah, if like if you could look back into your ancestors, and how far back do these heart issues go? And the same as myself,
Yeah,
how they can go back thousands of years,
yeah,
because it's emotion, right?
yeah.
It's emotions that bring it forth to the matter state, the fields. So we can continue to add to that obstruction of our lineage, or we can bring it to balance for the whole lineage before us. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. You want to have kids now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've signed up for that.
With a better name, let's have kids.
I'm pretty sure I've signed up for it.
If you want to pass on the good DNA, you have to have kids now. Otherwise, you're gonna die, and you know.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because it is. Of course, we come from our parents, and they come from their parents. But I believe it's more like we all can change, and as one person changes, the other person is gonna change. And even without having kids, without regenerating,
Yeah.
reproducing, just by changing in our lifetime, each one, we can change the world, you know.
Yeah.
Want to
I
have
was just sharing to a friend. I used to be kind of a bad influence in terms of turning someone's children into party animals and heavy drinkers. But what's happening is like so many friends are like, oh, I'm fasting, or I'm eating fruit, or I'm starting with the enemas, and it's like, whoa, like I haven't said anything. And I do know like there are friends and family who are worried about me because it's so unknown for them, just to not be eating solids for 40 days, whatever. And if I literally I can't right now, just my whole system's like no. But yeah, this is the new dangerous being I am, that I may bring fasting into your household.
I've come across people that were absolute in terror of of somebody else fasting, and being the skin turning into losing a lot of weight and stuff. There you can see the fear in their eyes. They think you're dying. They just, it's like total ignorance of what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there as well myself. In the ashram, some people just decided to do like 5-day dry fasts and things where they had no idea what they were doing. And
Wow.
or yeah, just people generally fasting. And I was really worried about them going, oh, you don't know, I didn't understand about fasting then too, but I can understand. But also these people wouldn't have been in the most kind of stable place mentally. But I do have compassion from, really understanding the fear of someone fasting.
Yeah,
I was there.
Physically, I mean, people who are eating like a vegetarian diet, it's probably not easy to do a 5-day dry. I mean, we recommend it when the diet is.
The person didn't last. Yeah, no, they came back after 2 days, like, oh my God. So they didn't make it. Thank goodness. Yeah.
I remember I met this woman way back. I don't know. I was working. I was 18, 19 or something. She was fasting for a few days. I thought that was ludicrous because I remember missing a meal up to that point in my life. So I know we were all there.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, in a way, there's the people who know me now who could never have imagined I've been this like party girl, messy, just junk food kind of person. And then there's the people because I've been away from Ireland for 10 or 11 years now. So there's the friends there who know me as, you know, party girl. And then there's only a very few people who've kind of been with me through this journey, and what a very challenging one it's been, from the bedridden, the sick, the schedule to the operation to now. So my family in Ireland, we haven't seen each other in about 6 years.
Wow.
So in a way, you know, I feel grateful that I've journeyed. Well, I think the toughest part really was the first 10 months or so of just confusion in the thick of the physical stuff and all the emotional stuff. But in a way, I feel that I'm grateful that I haven't put this on them. You know, kind of relatively journeyed this alone, and kind of in a much better place maybe to, when we see them again next year in the flesh, to say, yeah, I know it's a little bit scary for you, but hey, look at this being. She's actually happy now. Like, I'm happy. I'm not always happy. I've got still stuff, but you know, back then I had so much pain in my heart. Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to kind of overlook the eating fasting thing and to see beyond it, and just to see the being emerge as a better better situation than before. Yeah.
For sure.
So you haven't seen your parents for like 6 years? You haven't seen them for 6 years?
Yeah.
It's a long time. Yeah.
It's far too long. It's far too long. Yeah, but 2020 is the year. Yeah, in a way it was needed, but in the last few years I've really been feeling, see, they'd love for me to come back to Ireland, but the weather here is just divine. So so I'm just trying to manifest, I don't know, some way to, this is like, I just feel, you know, this journey of stripping away on the physical sense just opens me up to the vastness that's available in this life, and how small I've kept myself and my worth and my financial, what I'm ever able to take in financially. And it's just opening me up that the vastness of the universe is what's available to me. And so planting many seeds.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Floor's open. Anybody want to ask Amrita some questions? Go ahead.
Steve, maybe you can tell us about your at the beginning of your master fast. It was very difficult for you to go further on the fast because of the kidneys, and the bowels were, you know, and now you're washing them much more. So
well, I finally got the claim aboard. Boy, that's a lifesaver, actually.
Absolutely.
Even just today, because I broke today, and I didn't. The first meal was the mangoes, and that was fine. The second meal, I had some greens, and that was not so fine. I did a kalima right after, and it was fine. Beautiful. Just took all that.
Yeah.
But
but best, as we all know, like after a long fast, to stay on fruits. But you know.
Yeah.
You know. You know.
Tomorrow I'm staying on fruit only.
Hey, Steve, when you said
it's hard to find though. I mean, fruits are hard to find though. very hard. I'm shocked that I found those mangoes.
You know what? We have clementines now, and actually
Yeah,
persimmons are pretty good.
clementines I can probably do.
Persimmons. There's some good Italian grapes here that we get. Persimmons, I think. Well, where do they come from? I think from the U.S. And clementines, I think, from Spain.
Yeah, those are good. I
You
like
just
the
have to shop around. You'll have to shop around and find something that you love. The mangoes are probably not in season so much anymore, right? So.
These are from Peru, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's summer over there. Yes. Right.
Yeah, I found them in an Asian store. They had some pretty nice stuff there. And they were ripe, which the grocery stores don't have ripe fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little of it anyway.
Sorry, Scott, you were gonna say something, right?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna ask Steve. I was like, when you said you weren't okay, I mean, like, were you just like having stomach cramps or issues like that, or what kind of symptoms were you gonna have?
Dense.
No, it's probably more emotional.
Oh, okay. No, I was just curious.
Again, at a point where I was unable to continue the fast, the length of the fast that I wanted to. So.
No, I was more curious. So when you said you ate the greens, though.
I didn't want to eat. I just plain. I did not want to eat, but I had to break the fast.
I hear you.
So there's that. I don't know how to explain it.
No, you don't have to, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
More like at the end of the drinking. It's like I wanted to die, but I didn't want to die. It's like it's such a dichotomy of opposing emotions.
But you know, it's.
And Amrita, you said something about these things coming up again after this length of time. I've been sober 20, I don't know, long time, over 20 years. I still have old behaviors coming up from 25 years ago. It's like I thought I had dealt with this stuff.
Yep.
And the layers. Every time I think I remember in the beginning, I had such a terrible problem with patience. So I actually did some things proactively to try and get a handle on it. And I did, and I pat myself on the back. But then other things came up with patience, and it's like, oh, I thought I had this. But I mean, there's just so many layers to these things. I don't know if they ever end. I know if you want to work on some shortcoming, you're going to be tested by it. That's for sure. So
we just have to find our balance. We really just it's about finding the balance,
Well, I can't do it the way I'm doing it. That's why I'm committing to the 6 months.
Yeah.
My way, my way is not working, period. What I'm doing is not working.
That's why I don't like the long fast, just because, they are, they're not really helping us build the lifestyle, Yeah.
The long fasts are where we can get a really good purge and look inwards at ourselves. And
maybe I'm not ready for that.
Well, yeah, it's okay.
Probably what it is.
It's totally fine. Long fasts are so freaking easy. This is what I have to say again and again. I've done it many times. Long fasts are easy. There's no question about them. Simple. No. Simplicity. Yeah, sure, you can get bored. Totally, yeah, I understand that part. But is it simple? Yes. Do you have cravings? Not really. You have them when you eat. So long fasts are simple. But the thing is, if they're not sustainable,
no.
And if you're not building a sustainable lifestyle, then what are you doing? How can you find your balance going from one extreme to another?
And that's what it was. The extremes they're too great.
Yeah, it's about balance. I know people who are doing, some of my clients who are doing intermittent fasting only, okay? No full day fasting, and they love it, okay? And I'm not promoting it because, I mean, when we do master fast anyways, we eat within 3 hours when we eat, right? The eating days. So that's intermittent fasting. And I don't believe that's enough for us because we have done long fasts. Especially when you have done a long fast, I would say eating more than probably 2 days in a row does not work. Does not work.
My experience.
Because your cravings are going to come back if you have done a long fast. So you might not like the fact that you're going to be only eating 2 days a week, but I don't see how it would work otherwise. Now, if you have never done a long fast, get into 4 days a week or something. And you might feel amazing eating 4 days a week, intermittent fasting when you're eating, and then 3 days a week you go deeper, you fast.
I think that's what's so beautiful about MFS though, is because when I used to do the raw juice fasting, and the whole consensus around, you know, doing the raw juice fasting is you go on these extended fasts and you clean out the body, and once you're done cleaning out the body, you never have to think about fasting again. It's just clean out the body, go on a raw vegan diet, and then you're set for life. You know, just eat fruit for the rest of your life, you're good. And that's where you're, you know, how you talk about doing the long fast is not sustainable. That's where in my head I think about it, because I used to get off of those really long fasts, the raw ones, and be confused because I would start eating and I wouldn't feel as good, and I was like, what's going on, you know? Because of course you're not going to feel as good as you are in that natural state of fasting. So I think having the levels with MFS is beautiful, plus the extended fasting. It's a balance of both, because you can come off your extended fast understanding this is a lifestyle and living and loving one of the levels, instead of just getting off of the long fast and then 100% going back to food. And even in my mind, like how I think about like a long fast, like let's say even a shorter extended fast, like 21 days, is you can get off, you can eat for 2 days, and then you can just start fasting again. You can do the 2 days and the 5 days. And that's beautiful because you get to have a little bit of that, you know, eating, enjoy it, feel those emotions, love it, love that food. And then you're back into the fasting game. And I think it's important that we make that a point for people that this is a lifestyle and it's not an event, and just keep reiterating that because it's so important.
Absolutely. But before I met Gino, maybe a year before or two, I did 100-day raw juice fast. Now, it was not nearly as deep as master fast. It was mainly cantaloupe juice. And it was not nearly like I knew I didn't really feel absolutely cleaned out, you know? I didn't do enemas. After the fast, I didn't break it. I mean, I broke it with raw foods, but then I ate some dehydrated crackers, raw crackers and stuff like that. And I remember I was bleeding in my stool, you know.
Wow.
After I had drops of blood, you know, because I guess the food was very hard, obstructive, right? So bleeding, it happened to me. It actually happened to me, you know, whenever if I don't break properly, I can get that. But I got that right after the 108 days. And that was very scary, actually. And then
I remember I did 100 days and I didn't feel clean at 100 days. So then I went to 120 days. That was the longest fast I ever done. I went 120 days. And I went those extra 20 days just because I was like, I'm not clean. Why am I still like releasing gunk? And I still was stuck in that mindset that like, you've got to go long enough on one fast to fully clean your body. It's nonsense. I mean, you could fast for years and not be clean, you know?
Is it raw juice you did? 100.
Yeah, these were back in the days when I was doing raw fasting. I was mainly following like John Rose and Dr. Morse. So I was doing a little bit of herbs. I loved the enemas. I wasn't doing any psyllium or anything like that. Yeah. But I know exactly what you mean, because then I would go off and I would be raw vegan another diet, and then the
After-
fats would obstruct me right away.
yeah, after that I said to myself, no more fasting. I love the raw food. I think I did raw food maybe for 6 months before that 100 day, and I said I love raw food. Now I need to focus on eating well, raw food, because that also takes time to learn how to eat properly, right?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, no more long fast, no more fasting actually at all. And then when I met Gino, then I changed my mind, because I did, actually, before I met him, I met my client who was doing the master fast, and I saw what came out of him in the colonics, and that was the evidence that this is something else, When I saw the mucoid plaque, then I was like, okay, give me his number. That's how we met, through his friend. He was doing the fast, and that's before the master fast Facebook. So over 4.5
Wow.
yeah. So when I saw his YouTube videos documenting his own 108 days, then I was like, okay, this guy, he's very informed, he's very informed, and this is very interesting what's coming out. And if he wants me to drink cooked, I'm drinking cooked. I don't care. It's not like I've been eating the cleanest diet anyways, So I knew that I needed to clean out. But yeah, so
The confusion is that the diet's going to fix you out there. That's all. That's the problem.
or a long fast.
We don't focus on the freaking diet. We
or,
focus.
or a long fast.
That long fast is going to correct a lot of things. The evidence is plastered all over master fast people.
But what happens is a long fast.
It's the emotions are not able. They're not able to handle the transformation at the emotional level. That's the challenge, and that's why if nobody's going to be hanging around and being able to talk about this, they're not going to sustain themselves. And this is what we've seen. This is why we have a support system. Yeah. Because I've been here 3 decades and there was no support system. I was just so freaking stubborn, like a freaking rock. I didn't give a shit. I just kept going and kept going and kept going. All these emotions, I just kept doing it because I knew that fasting was the lifestyle. All the diets I tried and raw food for vegan for almost a decade. It was wonderful and everything, but my body would come to the point, okay, it's time to fast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The answer is not a diet alone, and the answer is not a long fast alone.
Because then people look at it as an event. That like this one long fast, I got to just one long fast and I'll clean out everything and then I'm good. It's like, you can't look at it that way. You can do the long fast, but have the intention that I have to continue this after as a lifestyle. That's what's so important.
But we never talked about it as an event, not once.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there was no structure. So now with the structure of all the 7 levels, it makes
there
it much
was
easier
different structures before. That's not that there was no structure. It was different. I underestimated the level of toxicity that humans were at today, and how the ancestral emotions take part, which takes decades and generations to build, and we're not going to resort it and balance it all out in a fast. So the structure was there to continue doing this year after year after year after year.
And clean up your diet.
Back then I used to say don't eat more than 6 days a week. I found 6 days a week's way too much food. Way too much food.
Way too much. Way too much. And on top of the days that you're eating, you gotta be having your windows on the days you're eating. You gotta have your dry window. You've gotta have, in my opinion, when I talk to people about the days that you are eating, right? So let's say you're doing 5 days of eating. You've got to have your windows. You got to have your dry window. You got to have some sort of wet window, at least something to just wash a little bit. And then you've got to keep your eating window minimized. You can't be eating, 10 hours a day. Absolutely not. Even 5 days of eating 10 hours a day, it's just way too much.
Yeah. So
if you're doing 5 days of like 3 hours, 4 hours of eating, you're going to do way better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So writing it down in the protocol, as we did, made it.
Yeah.
We want to emphasize it over and over and over and over. It's very
yeah.
Well, this by sharing, everybody sharing, and so on and so forth. we come to a new understanding of what level people are at. And now it's been a big revelation. So we can adjust things. And this is nothing stagnant. We're going to continue
Yeah.
evolving and adjusting things as we continue to learn.
And there are people here who are coming from the standard diet, right? So they have absolutely no idea how to eat raw food properly, for example. Whereas many of us have been through it. We have done the mistakes. It took me a year maybe to eat raw food properly, to learn how to do it properly, learning from this person, that person. It takes time. So the people even, we write it in the protocol. Maybe we make it clearer with time, and we did. And also we, emphasize it over and over and over. So, so just, just making it more out there, talk about it more. And
I have a question. Do you think that, like, we're talking about like eating raw, but during these eating windows, there also is, how you're saying step by step and progression. There also is, in terms of the eating, a progression towards cleaner food, because I feel like the cooked food does play an important role. Like, for me personally, if I'm just gonna stick to the fruit, it's tough for me. I struggle to stay on just fruit. That dinner during that eating window after the fruit, to have some, steamed squash, something like that, just is so grounding, and it helps emotionally so much. I mean, you can do other things. You can do the herbal veggie broth, you can do a green juice, but definitely, I mean, the cooked is going to be the strongest in terms of the grounding.
Yeah, it's not an issue. You know what I mean? Arnold Everett talked about the fanatic raw foodist. And if you look at his diets and what he suggested for people through transition and then to breaking fast and so on and so forth, there's all cooked foods in there. We have a whole new understanding now, 100 years later, of the obstructiveness of foods. Like, he had that mixture of nuts and dried fruit as good digestion. That's a horrible combination. We've learned quite a bit more in 100 years. But
people still bring that up to me all the time.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, he was a master. He developed, he came.
Yeah.
He was that wonderful formula. He was way ahead of his time. But I'm just saying, we've come to a whole new understanding, especially with today's humanity at today's levels compared to what they were back then. It's a whole different ballgame. We're way more obstructed. You can't use what they've been doing back then with, what we have today. You can't use the same mind that created the problem to solve the problem. You have to, expand on it. So, cooked foods used prudently, as long as you're living and loving it, you're not continuously obstructing 7 days a week, you're going to be thriving. And that's the whole thing.
That's where it's at.
That's right.
Yeah, if you're living this lifestyle, I mean, like you said it earlier, that the fasting is way more important than the food. So if you're living this lifestyle, I mean.
Yeah, like, somebody like myself, which I've tried staying 100% raw, eating all that fat, almost killed me. My friend passed. His heart stopped. So, yeah, you want to eat raw? Okay. You eat all the fat you want. It's raw. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, the nuts and the seeds, the oil, my goodness.
It's amazing how some people can do that for, quite a few years and they're still going. It's just, wow. But I came from...
You definitely cannot eat fruits when you eat high fat. You just can't.
You can't.
It ferments. Like one day fruit, even if you ate it the day before, and then you eat fat, and then tomorrow you eat fruit, it doesn't digest.
They just clog you up, fats. I don't care what fats. There's some more obstructive than others. Big deal. If we keep our fats very low, all fruits, most all fruits have some fat. Like I think a date is one of the few things that has no fat. Chestnut, I think, is the only nut that doesn't have any fat. But I'm just saying, all fruits have some fat, a small percentage. And if we've have an avocado, once every few months, it's not a big deal, or some coconut. If we keep our percentage of fat, below that 10 or 5% in that window. Women can handle a little more generally. We're okay. If we start going over those, we're going to start plugging ourselves up big time. And especially if you're doing 7 days a week eating. If you're eating 5 days a week max, or even less would be better, your body can handle purging out what you've eaten. And that's the key. Are you living an obstructing lifestyle or a de-obstructing lifestyle? So there's got to be that balance, and everybody's going to be a bit different on how many days they can handle where they're obstructing or they're de-obstructing. So that's the key, to find that balance in you, because everybody's body is going to work differently, because all the emotions, ancestrals, genetics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, environments. So we play.
But even eating fruit all day long, I don't feel good. I feel obstructed, and that's why you're bringing up that like low fat thing, and it reminds me of 80-10-10.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of when I tried that, and I tried to stick to 80-10-10 because, of course, I mean, fruit is the least obstructive, but trying to get like what does he reckon, like 4,000 calories of fruit a day? I mean, you just end up shoveling your fruit in your mouth, and you're like, why don't I feel good?
Forcing yourself to eat, yeah, okay, sure, whatever.
That like that whole mentality of like, as long as you stick to the fruit, you'll be fine, but you have to shovel it in your mouth. It really is a force, because you naturally don't want to eat that much. You really don't.
Yeah, it's okay. I've not seen people thrive on exclusively a fruitarian lifestyle in long term. I haven't seen it. There's maybe a handful in the world that have done it long term. I'm talking 10 to 20 years or more. It's because, number one, we don't have the best fruit available, depending where you are, right? Fresh, right? Local is really the key to being able to do that. But when you're fasting a lot, living a lifestyle, there's going to be much things at play, because we're purging and bringing up things, and we have to deal with all that in our daily lives and so on and so forth. And all these things are attached to food, and food are attached, are triggers and so on and so forth. So, if you're eating all the time, you're not really purging anything. You're continuously in an obstructing state, even if it's fruit. And that's where I don't see people understand that. I don't see it. Very, very few living and loving it are starting to gain that understanding. And there's a big difference between the two. And once you gain that, you start opening up and seeing for what it really is. Am I obstructing or de-obstructing? And continue with that. So, I'm not, we're not really saying, you have to be a fruitarian. No. If you want to eat a little bit of cooked and we have the choices of least obstructive to more obstructive, and choose that, and to help you settle down, and so you can continue your fasting lifestyle.
I find raw, like fruits, of course, I eat them raw. I like them raw, sweet fruits. But vegetables, I've been finding that raw vegetables are much easier to digest, and also less addictive.
Depends which vegetable.
Yeah, not cruciferous vegetables. Not so many vegetables anyways. Most of them are like tomatoes and zucchini and some arugula, maybe Irish moss, which is a seaweed, stuff like this. I find them, when I keep it like this, clean, raw, and easy to digest, no cruciferous vegetables, I find it like the next morning I can get back on the fast, no cravings whatsoever. But if I have, let's say, a lentil soup, maybe some quinoa next to it, after my fruits, I feel I like to eat more again today. Not always. I mean, once in a while I feel it's okay, because you know what? Let's not what do you call it? Let's eat whatever we want. Let's eat whatever we want. Choose whatever you want. I mean, honestly, as long as it's
prudently.
Yeah, prudently, but Like I'm definitely not going to eat meats and like beef and chicken and stuff like that, because it feels horrible. Oils, I prepare the food usually when I eat. I like to prepare it. If I don't prepare it, it's definitely very obstructive because of the oils or the nuts or whatever. It doesn't feel good at all. I can't sleep sometimes at night if I eat like this. Um, yeah, so eat whatever you want. If it's obstructive, do it occasionally, just for pleasure. If it's not obstructive, stick to it. Simple. And I feel raw salads are the easiest and low fat, no oils. I like olives. I love olives, actually.
Olives are about 20% fat.
Yeah.
The oil comes from the seeds.
I ferment some vegetables. No salt. I put ocean water. Like say, like be creative a little bit. Whatever makes you stimulates you. Keeps you going. It's all raw.
Yeah.
No resheets. No rewraps. Mm.
It's simple.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when we're fasting, we're not really feeling so much emotional turbulences, and when we are eating, that's when the emotions come up, right? So what exactly happens? Sorry, do you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So do we actually experience emotional?
Definitely come up when you're fasting, Rose.
Really? Because in my experience, I haven't had any emotional things come up when I was fasting. Everything was like in free flow, and maybe I just haven't got deep enough.
Yeah, well, the food will trigger emotions in a different sense of the way. The emotions that come up through a fast is a purging emotion, whereas emotions that come from food are emotions to that the monkey mind brings forth to plug up the emotions from coming forth. Plug us up. It's a different volume, and they trigger us to eat more and more and more to get into that numb state again. It's two different things.
And always at the beginning of the fast, maybe the first 3 weeks, yeah, you're gonna have more. Your body's changing, but then I would say a little bit after that, it's fine. Like you don't feel the emotions. I feel, yeah, they're there, but you are different. I feel like you start observing them. You can handle them better. I
Yeah.
feel, yeah, you
When
can
you're
handle the
fasting.
emotions better when you're
Well,
fasting.
I have no problems with my emotions when I'm fasting, and I haven't had any emotions come up lately. However, I am certain that there's still a lot of sadness and a lot of regret and a lot of bitterness here in my throat. Or all the ancestral things and the past and emotional trauma, and I'm just searching for ways to purge all that. I know I still have that in me, even though I feel fine, even though I feel amazing. Actually, I know how deep it is. So I haven't had any experiences of emotional purges on a fast, so maybe I need to go deeper, I guess.
Don't worry about with the food again. It's more like an addiction, like a heroin addict. Who wants to get his next fix. It's a different thing. It's triggered by the eating cycle. These are not emotional purges. It's a completely different thing. So, uh, if you watch all the people who've shared their experiences, many people had emotional purging through their fasts. Many. And it was a major relief once they purged it and embraced it. So it's two completely different things when you're eating versus fasting. The fasting one is more of an addiction thing, basically. Steve would know about that.
Yeah, Steve, you just broke his.
We all do. We all do.
Well, Steve is definitely a place where I would like to be. Yeah, it seems like he's doing great. And about the emotions, searching online of all the tools and ways maybe I could purge that emotion. I'm really searching for some ways, and the only thing that comes to mind is ayahuasca or something like that.
Meditate, man. Just meditate. Take time for yourself. Keep fasting. Keep meditating. Connect with nature. It all comes through. You know,
Yeah, I guess so.
you become more and more stable. You'll feel that oneness. You know, once you get to uh,
Balanced state.
yeah, more balanced state, but a more clean state. You'll feel more of that connection, especially when you do the longer drives. When you get into those, that's really the profound times when you start being able to get into the longer drives. Then come talk to me. Once you get into 7 9 days.
I definitely feel more sensitive when I'm fasting, but I feel so much stable and so at balance and so connected to everything. So there is absolutely not a chance you could upset me about something when I'm fasting.
Of course, yeah. But you know what I'm talking about to get to the emotional purging when you doing the long drives, like once you get, I'm not talking to do it tomorrow. Take your time, work your way up to those 7 9 days, and plus that. Once you get into that realm, then come talk to
Right.
me.
Thank you.
How many days are you now?
Oh, I'm eating now. This is day 3, so
So what are you doing these days?
I'm eating only fruit. I haven't eaten any, veggies or salt for more than a month now, and I'm feeling fine. And I can definitely see the change. 3 days of eating is too much for me.
Yeah.
And
So
how's
hold on. What would you like to do? Like, are you gonna stay with 3 days?
Well, I'm really just, as I said, I don't plan my fasts very well. So I might as well, wake up tomorrow and start doing some enemas and jumping back in because I can't really plan this. I have a lot of stuff to do, and I just don't think about it.
Okay.
So I can definitely see that the amount of food is definitely less. I'm eating less and less. um, I've come a long way. I was eating 7 days a week. I was eating much bigger portions. Now I can see that 3 days a week is too much for me.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Once we tap into um, experiencing the fields, there's no comparison. So how can we compare? After you eat a meal, oh my goodness gracious, you know what I mean? So there's a big difference, and that's the beauty. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we allow the process to unfold over the years, and we continue expanding if that's what we choose. It's beautiful. How's the tooth?
Well, dude is doing fine. I'm doing oil pulling, and I get only occasional pains. I haven't used any clove oil for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month. So yeah, it's very good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Keep working on it. Don't whatever you do, just keep working with it. Just keep working with it. You'll keep that tooth if you keep working with it. Like I'm working with a tooth, but you're working with everything. You know what I mean? But do the extra things with the tooth just to help. It's more for the emotion that you're doing that than anything else.
Right.
Putting the time, energy, and love into it. The physicality of the things we're doing are a facade, just like the master class is a facade. It's what are we doing on the higher order side and the field side? That's what counts, and that's what we're all about. Is the physical things. Okay, they're there, and we can play with them, and we can enjoy them and love them. But matter don't create matter. Fields create matter. So once we start looking at things in that sense of a way, the whole universe opens up to us, and that's what we're trying to uh, move towards and start gaining more and more of understanding that way. um, do we need to know all the intricacies? No, but it's our human nature to want to dissect everything and know everything. But It's not important. It's just to help us know what to do and which directions to go to support us in the fasting lifestyle more and more, and focusing more and more in the fields. That's all it's really for, because the soul works in autopilot. Um, it's completely programmed with all the information of creation from the beginning of time, if there is one, to the end of time, if there is one. There is nothing missing from that information from soul. So we know when our intellects say, yeah, we can invent this, that, and the other thing, it's all crap. So all the information is already available. Do you want to tap into it? That's the question, and access it. And that's what happens as you continue this lifestyle. You'll access all this information. It'll come through, and it'll be clear as day. You'll close your eyes and you have a knowing of it. And sometimes we can't put them into words because the languages are so limiting and enslaving. Is from my understanding, that's what languages are for. They are not here to allow us to expand. They're here to entrap and enslave. And
Definitely.
yeah.
When I was I spontaneously tapped into that state, and of course my body automatically followed. So I started fasting, spontaneously, and I will never forget how I felt. I will never forget it. So that lasted about a year, and yeah, I'm definitely seeking a way to return to that natural state. And this is a state of silence. I enjoyed silence. I enjoyed nothingness. Everything seemed as an unnecessary drama to me. So I couldn't even. I didn't even like being around people so much. I I was I was just wanting to be alone and in the dark. So I felt amazing, and yes, I'll never forget it. Definitely.
Same here. I feel like those highs when we're really blissed out, I mean, those experiences, they stay with you forever. And those to me are like, for starting my fast right now, that was like my pool. That's what drew me back in, because
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how on one of my fasts I went to Catalina Island, and I had the best time of my entire life. I mean, when you travel in the fasted, in the natural state, there's nothing like it. And I just said I want to be back there. I want to just be on top of the world again. So I know what you mean. Those experiences, nothing like them.
Sense of freedom. Yeah.
Definitely. And I remember I was like just going inward so much. It was like a sense of limitless realm. Yeah, the place in ourselves is so vast. There is a never ending intensity of information. There are infinite levels, and only by focus you can access them. So in order for me to focus and to be in that state, I had to be in silence, and I had to meditate, and I meditated for 24/7 for more than 6 months, and I can't even describe how I felt. And when I had and I didn't always have that sense of bliss and euphoria. I just felt I just received so much information of this reality. I everything was like so much more real, because when you focus on inward, you actually can realize that everything else is your creation. So I could just bear that information with me, and I could just feel the intensity of the presence, and the time was so more intense. So I could get all the information, so much more information, so time was definitely, slowing, as we're slower. And yes, and when I got the bliss and the euphoria, I was actually scared of it, and I remember praying to God to relieve me of this euphoria, because I knew what comes after the euphoria. at least at least I didn't want to have any ups and downs. I just wanted to be in this, in this balanced state. So I didn't want to have any ups and downs. And I remember having purges. So I miss those purges where I would just, get overwhelmed by emotion, and I could see the images of what my old self was doing, and the things I regret, when I was not behaving in the peace, balance, in the correct conduct way. So I just remember being so overwhelmed and crying, and regret so much, the people I hurt, and I was so wanted to repent and wanted to make up for it, and I definitely got the idea that the only way to do that is to take care of yourself. So yeah, I just can't wait to go back there.
Many of these realizations happened on the master fast, like.
Well, I either fasted, like dry fasted, or on some kidney tea, or I did a master fast. I never did any other type of fast, actually. So I was when I had these realizations. It was right after my spontaneous, as I said, Kundalini awakening. So after I, had all the intense, blow up of information at a short period span of time, and within 15 minutes, I immediately changed from sad diet lifestyle to a vegan 1 meal a day, and it was like almost no grains or fat. So I did that for more than 6 months, and I fasted some days, or dry fasted, and maybe some like lemonade, and maybe some kidney tea. But I was definitely receiving a lot of information, and I came up to master fast on the internet and Arnold Barrett, just information coming in almost immediately, after everything and my perception changed.
Amazing.
Yeah, just think about those states when you get into the blissful states. How do you put that in words? There's no words to describe those states. You have the feeling, and the people who've experienced understand that. Well, I can't really put it into words.
Yeah.
It's that feeling.
Yeah. Maybe Steve can
Yes.
share about the emotions while fasting and while off fasting.
Oh boy. I still even, I over 200 days of fasting this year.
Amazing.
And I think one of the biggest draws was because I've been so closed off emotionally, is trying to tap in, and I don't feel that I've gotten there.
Where do you feel you got to get to?
I don't know. I don't feel. That's what I'm saying. If something happens, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
I don't feel. I know it here. I don't feel anything here. The only thing that ever got through in decades now was something happened with my daughter earlier in the year, last year. That got in. That was it. That's been it. Even today, even today, after all this whole year, something can happen out there, and intellectually, I know how I'm supposed to feel. I don't feel it here. There's still such a then that was been my searching, even into getting into sobriety. Is there's such a disconnect to all parts of me, physical, emotional, spiritually. They're almost like they're, they are their own entities, separate from each other.
A little bit of confusion.
That's my challenge.
Yeah, and do you feel it more when you're fasting and when you're eating?
And we died.
I think we lost him.
I can definitely relate to alcoholism, because in Serbia it's not called the alcohol problem, it's actually called life. So I used to drink a lot. I used to drink maybe half a liter of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Strong stuff?
Yeah, I would drink half a liter of alcohol in a day, in a night.
Wow.
What kind of alcohol?
Vodka.
So if I was drinking some rakia, that's our, either a plum distillate or wine distillate, it would be around 40% alcohol. So I would basically drink it more than a liter of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I had, asthma, and I was smoking from when I was 14, and, all the good stuff.
Yeah, everyone smokes cigarettes after I feel like drinkers are known to just, go outside and have a smoke, come back, drink more.
Chain smoking since I was 14.
Chain?
Yeah, I was chain smoking.
Wow.
And just after that one day of that Kundalini experience changed everything. Stopped smoking overnight, stopped drinking, stopped, everything. Because I was actually having troubles with, sexual addiction as well. I was always, searching for a sexual partner, and I was masturbating and watching porn. And this is a very important subject. And if people stopped doing that, everybody could have a chance of experiencing what I experienced. So because I had really strong sexual energy, and my spontaneous Kundalini experience actually happened because I stopped, having physical, relations, sexual relations at the time for maybe a month, and I wasn't, having any orgasms for a month. So that built up one night, just exploded between my eyebrows, So the sexual energy is definitely, the strongest energy in the human body. So when we learn to channel that energy, everything comes into place.
Very powerful energy.
Yeah, and our heart definitely, is amplifier for that energy. So because of the fields, heart is the strong emitter. It radiates the fields, the waves, and once we get the sexual energy up to the heart and amplify it, and then channel it and navigate it to our forehead, that's when the magic happens. But I guess the heart is where things are at balance. This is the center.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know I definitely need to purge a lot of stuff because I experienced that, sweetness of emotion. I used to, and I'm just looking for tools to maybe get there faster.
Everybody wants it yesterday.
You have all the tools.
I guess I just need to fast,
Continue.
Yeah, find your balance. Steve, we lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It happens.
Got cut off. So anyway, what I was saying is, from drinking from such an early age, there was no emotional growth. When you start drinking the way I drank, you start growing emotionally at that point. So that was 27 years. So that's been my challenge from getting sober to today is trying to become a whole human again. That's what I've been searching for. Because there's no connection. All parts of me are fragmented. They still are. They're starting. I can feel some change this year, but still so far off. If something goes on, I know intellectually how I'm supposed to feel. I don't feel it in the heart. There's just a wall. And that goes back to the alcoholism, because that's the only way you can continue. It's its own protection. It creates its own protection, right? And it was funny throughout those years, I always say, here's the line. I won't go across this line in behavior or whatever. You would push up against it, dip your toes over. It's like, okay, that's not so bad, and go. Right? So there's a lot of work to do here.
Yeah.
Honestly, you have been doing absolutely amazing. I mean, okay.
Maybe I don't see any, I don't see much change. I mean, I see physical and everything, but it's still.
I'll tell you one thing, okay?
Huh?
You have been committed, and commitment is
Very few.
many of us are lacking. You are committed. Yeah, okay. Nobody's perfect, but you are committed. For example, to the Zooms, you're always here. You're always committed. Like you just show up. You never give up.
I try not to.
And you have done lots of fasting. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not easy to make it a lifestyle. It's not easy to find your balance. So just focus on that. Focus on that.
Oh yeah,
that's what you're doing, right?
Keep going.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. Just do, let's say, 5 days a week of fasting, and then eat a little bit just to for the experience of eating, then get back on. And honestly, it is very deep. It feels like complete fasting. If you do it 1 day a week, it's even better, in my opinion. I mean, the less days, the less cravings. right? The less days of eating.
You know, you were talking about the drinking and so on, but you know, you've shared with us the food is just at a whole different level.
Incredible.
All different levels. So we all are dealing with this. You know, the alcohol's, yeah, it's got its thing, but the food, we've all been ingrained with
Yeah,
that
that's
from inside our mothers.
I only refer back to the drinking because that's where everything stemmed from.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, because it was such an early age.
yeah.
hmm
That's the key. It was such an, you know, it's not like I was 30, 40 years old when I started drinking. You know, it was
yeah,
Very young.
all through them formative years,
and
you know,
also
and how to interact and you know that.
and the alcohol damages your body more than food.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
you
They
can
both.
die, you can die much faster becoming an alcoholic than
Yeah, it's slow.
yeah.
People go a long time, go decades before it catches up to them.
Yeah.
Body's amazing, can handle a lot of crap.
Yeah, well, you know, you're drinking, they're eating too, so you're doing both.
And other stuff.
There's some alcoholics, they don't eat much.
But
You know,
boy, it's
No, you don't.
it affects them.
You don't eat.
Still affects you. Yeah.
But this is the only thing I found, and it's
How physically, right now, the way you're feeling compared to from when you started MFS, how's the body physically, meaning aches and pains and
oh Lord,
eyes? And,
that's where the biggest changes happened.
yeah.
The arthritis minimized unless I eat bad. If I'm eating clean, no arthritis. Prostate, it's not great, but it's, you know, I was considering having the procedure done. That's just barbaric, and so there's, you know, I can pee again. Again, it's not great, but it's greatly improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, the physical is incredible. I dropped, well, at the bottom of the last dry, I was down 118 pounds. I started this off January 3rd. On January 2nd, I was 182.
What was your height again?
5'8.5", 5'9". I don't know. I haven't measured myself. I don't know if I grew at all.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I found, because I go to the gym every day, and what I found, especially in the fast, the deeper into a fast I go, the higher the intensity of the workout.
Where you get the energy?
The energy is just incredible.
Yeah, much easier to move. Your joints are much happier.
But see, today I started eating and I don't feel well. I don't feel bad, but it's just
It's the first day.
Yeah.
everything's down. Everything is down.
Yep, and you get numbed out.
No, I ate clean. It's just the energy. The energy level is down.
Yeah.
And you feel it more with the vegetables than the fruits, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That just immediate, just drop in energy, feeling
Absolutely.
numbed out. It's just
Immediately.
it makes it so clear why we do this. You know, every time I eat, I go, okay, I know why I fast. Like every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reminder because I guess maybe we need to be reminded maybe, I don't know how many times.
A few thousand times.
See, that's been a challenge. That's been a challenge for me too, coming from the mindset of all or nothing with the booze. It's all or nothing. There's no in between. I can't drink for 2 days a week and then not drink for 5. I cannot ever drink safely again, period. And period. There's no question about that. So to try and come into here and go back and forth between eating and not eating, with my mind saying all or nothing, it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge. So try.
I don't.
It's been challenging.
Yeah, but with food, it's different than alcohol. It's not an alcohol.
I'm not arguing that. That's not the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
It's what I know and what I've
No,
I've learned getting sober. That's the mindset that I brought into this.
Mhm.
It's not. I'm not trying to compare the two. It's just this is where I came from. This is what I am dealing with. You know, as opposed to just because that's the way I've been trained for the last 24 years.
Yeah, like it's true for alcohol, not necessarily true for food.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, you're talking about, you want to feel, like you're talking about feeling things. But do you, in your own experiences, like on your own time, like I'm just thinking about, like, when you do a long drive and then you take a shower afterwards, you take that hot shower after that long drive fast, and it's one of the most euphoric, blissed out, almost erotic states where the water's on your skin, and you don't feel that when you're eating, So, I mean, in terms of feeling, like, are you having those kind of feelings where it's just like those personal feelings?
No, it's the emotional part. The
Okay,
physical,
emotion.
Yeah, I can feel the physical things, but the emotional.
But I mean, it is, even those are physical. They're hugely emotional too.
Yeah, mental,
I
emotional.
wouldn't know.
Because I feel like those personal moments, I mean, when we're with ourselves, when we're inward, I mean, to me, those are some of the most important times in my life. Like, when I was talking about how I went on that vacation earlier, and I mean, I have memories being with my family, but those good memories were just me being so happy, me just being so blissed out on my own, just freedom, just exploring, like that's what I remember from it, Sorry if that doesn't connect well.
Embrace it all.
That's great.
Love the highs and the lows.
There's a theme in addiction that really runs through, and there's always this lack of belonging. You don't feel like you belong. You're not a part of. You're apart from. And I don't care if it's drugs, booze, whatever. It runs through. It runs through. That's part of that is addiction. Addiction wants you isolated on your own. I don't care what addiction it is. Doesn't matter. It wants you alone and isolated, right?
When was the last time you had a good cry?
That's funny.
Well,
Oh, never. Last time? Oh God. Decades.
wow.
Decades.
Keep
Like
fast.
I said, I don't know if I got cut off. My daughters broke up with her boyfriend broke up with her last year.
Yeah.
And she did not, it was out of the blue. She did not want that. She took that tough. That's the only thing that started penetrating.
Ah,
That's it. Nothing else has ever gotten through the walls.
her emotion.
Her emotion.
Women's
That
emotion. Oh yeah.
That I felt.
You need a good
But
soap opera.
other than that, forget it. Just, and again, it goes way back. And I know where it goes. I know how far back it goes. I can see the 7-year-old boy. I know what happened. I know where it stems from.
Right. Yeah, it'll
Well,
come.
remember that. Remember the boy. Remember 7-year-old, he said? Remember the
The
7-year-old?
frightened child. The frightened
Exactly.
child.
Remember it and cry. Cry for that little boy. Yeah,
Easy to say.
on your own, like that's that's prayer and connecting. And Amrita,
What was
you're
that
talking about
guy's?
the prayers today, right?
Yeah.
And how you always knew that you wanted to connect to God as a little child.
Yeah, just love to share a few words. I'm so grateful for everyone's sharings, just listening. Something that's really been in my journey as well of prayer is that our shadows, particularly the parts that we might feel are so shameful that we couldn't possibly let anybody know about us, that they are the seeds of our greatest gifts. That when that energy that's gone the wrong way around starts to come back around, it's not just like a mediocre blessing in our life, but a gift that's related to like soul emerging, because these deep shadow parts, I feel they are at the depth of soul, because they touch really, really deep. And so when I've had all these waves of things coming up lately, I keep remembering that, and just remembering that I don't need to know how to fix this. I don't need to know how to fix myself. I don't need to know how to find the way. All I need to know is somehow that this shadow is the seed to a really amazing gift, and the deeper and more kind of yucky it feels, the greater gift that's on the other side. And yeah, I think definitely the process of fasting, look forward to getting into more dry fasting, certainly does bring up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
How about for some people, what physical changes have you experienced so far? And have you measured your height before and after?
There was some point last year where I actually realized I got a bit taller, maybe an inch taller. I haven't measured it in a while. Physical changes, well, I just had kind of
other things.
Yeah, chronic pain was normal, chronic fatigue, like that's just all gone. I called it 6 months pregnant belly. Constantly bloated belly, no matter what. I don't know what I can eat. I've tried everything. My legs were rock solid, painful, huge stagnation. They still have a lot of stagnation, but they're not like, they were painful to touch if I was to get a massage. I had really bad candida on my right foot. When speaking about lineage stuff, there's a lot of lineage stuff in the father line. Just my right foot had really weird skin, and that's cleared up somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's loads more things, but they were the ones that gave the greatest relief anyway.
The legs are the kidneys too, right? The legs go back to the kidneys and the feet as well.
Well, it's interesting. Something like my upper body feels real good, but the lower body, I've had like for most of my life complete disconnection to these legs. It was like they don't belong in this body, but it's disconnection to aspects of myself, aspects of my lineage. And it's been really interesting that about a week ago, I felt all this energy in me, and I could feel that it couldn't actually pass down to the earth, and that there is like a blockage in my sexuality, in my sacral chakra. And feeling that this particular fast has given me access to know that it hasn't just been a figment of my imagination, that I can feel that energy does not flow with ease. A trickle flows down through the feet, but it doesn't flow with ease. So a lot of this kind of stagnation in my legs, which is way more than just physical, it has a lot of story to it that's beginning to emerge, actually. I can't remember your name, dear brother. You're Uru, you were just asking about how how to like bring up lineage stuff. And I've been just many years knowing that there's stuff to come up, but I feel that, and just now I'm beginning to tap into it, and it's quite intense. But I feel that even though I feel like a generally kind of grounded, balanced person, now I can go off the rails, but generally I still feel that it's taken me this amount of life experience, this amount of the fasting experience to build a level of, I think actually, yeah, connection to life force and stability in myself, to actually be able to journey with releasing this for myself and my lineage. And we'll see how the legs change over the next decade or two. I let go now. But it's interesting. It's so interesting, just the power of prayer and intention. And I really just want to give a big thank you to beautiful sister Ranjit. Yeah, prayer and intention has become so strong. And yeah, well, I'll just share something a little bit funny, that I had this intention that I want life to make love to me. I don't necessarily mean like a partner or anything. I just mean this sensation of making love with life, life to make love with me. Like, I just really want to drink in the juice of life. I know I'm not drinking in fully the juice. And the next day I was, I'm still preparing foods for things. It's all good. So I was chopping these carrots for a soup. And then there was like this carrot with a big lingam hanging out, huge. And it was just existence going, this love is going to be big. And then what rolled forth was the awareness of the blockage in my sacral chakra, and this message to connect now more deeply with the earth. How can I be a flow from heaven to heart, and maybe earth up to heart? And it's just like boom, boom, boom. You set the intention and it just unfolds. And it's these moments when something unfolds out of the blue that it brings me so much trust. And just knowing, and kind of patience. Patience, definitely something I struggle with is impatience, but it brings me so much patience, because what seems to be unfolding, magical experience earlier this week, is like, it's exactly what the deepest part of my soul was yearning for. It wasn't what my mind wanted to unfold.
It's that that plasma love always flowing. Once we tap into that and start opening up all the stagnations, that's what you mean about making love to life. It's just field strength. You get into those ecstatic states, and it's just awesomeness. There's no stagnation happening. Everything is just flowing continuously. So that's the state that we're talking about, you know, making love to life. And it's an amazing place to be. The deeper we dig, the more it flows.
Yeah, I have this feeling like I've just kind of cracked my heart open to the universe. Because, you know, this feeling of, well, to crack yourself right open to a person, well, you never know. Every person is a whole universe in themselves. But it's safe to just open up to the sky, to the universe, and say, I'm yours, you know, I'm going to do my best. Yeah.
Beautiful. I would love to hear from Angelica, if you are still around. I don't know if she's busy.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, a few hours ago, had I shared, I would have said I'm doing great. And I fell off the wagon literally a couple of hours ago. I had some obstructive food. I was doing so well. Because of the way the moon phases work set this month, I ended up doing full MFS for 11 days. And then today I broke it with some watermelon. And then I struggled all day today. And I would lose my mind into food and then come right back and say, no, I know why I have a plan, I have a path, I know where I'm going. And then again, I'd fall back, and then I gave in. And so I am struggling, and I'm struggling. I'm trying to find my balance, and I honestly didn't realize that I would come to this place. I was, so excited about MFSing, and I'm struggling right now. And I want to do this. I want to keep moving forward, and I'm just struggling.
Yeah, so it's about finding the balance. Don't worry about it.
It's just challenges surfacing.
It's
Work
about,
with it. Don't resist it. Don't look at it as struggling. Just challenges will always come up.
It happened for a reason.
Yeah. And it's funny. I'm back home, and relationships they bring out the deepest issues. And so my husband and I are in a good place, and yet just being here, I think, and MFSing is bringing up the stuff that I never dealt with. And we're not fighting, we're not, we're living our regular lives, in a better place, not the best place, but in a better place. And yet I can feel them. Like right now, after I ate, I felt the fears that I've felt in our relationship. So I'm here, with you all listening, and at the same time going through these emotions, feeling disconnected, feeling alone. And
thank you for your courage to be here, because I know it's easy. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate that. I wasn't sure how this was going to come across, and but I'm feeling it. I may, as I'm listening to you all, at the same time I'm hearing the messages, and I'm applying them to myself. So I am feeling those. I decided to feel those feelings that came up, and they seem to be dissipating at this point. So
what's your plan? I know many people don't like to plan.
I made the decision to do 6 days a week. And these past 2 weeks I ended up doing 11 days, just because of the moon phases, and then solstice, because of that too, the season change. I ended up doing 11, and living in Texas is not the easiest, because my husband's side of the family loves their food. So with the holidays around and going to, Christmas, the food that was available, and I'm watching people eat, and of course I made some food for them as well. So I'm cooking it, I'm preparing it, I'm looking at it. So the temptations are there, so I need to figure out now how to harmonize that.
I'll tell you, for me, I feel like, honestly, like you said, 1 day a week, is that what you want to do? 1 day a week of eating?
I want to go back on full MFS. It was simple. I didn't have any cravings. Granted, I was going through some major emotional issues because, you know, with Eskimo and stuff. But it just feels like that was like the best place.
So you mean like, what kind of lifestyle would you like to live?
Full MFS. I would love to be on full MFS.
Okay. So yeah. So you're thinking to go to level 7.
Yes.
Do you feel you're ready?
Yes, I do. I'm in the middle of moving. So if you saw my house, there's chaos. There's boxes everywhere. And I close on a house on Monday. So my plan is to move, unpack. Oh, you know, the first things I'm taking, the last things I'm taking with me is my Kalima board and my herbs. So the first thing that's going to be there is my Kalima board and my herbs, and I'm getting started right away. That's what I want.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
that's a lot of pressure when you're moving as well, right? Another thing on top, holidays, that's a lot of things.
Yeah. You went through so much in the past days.
Don't worry about allow everything.
And that was the thing that happened today too, is like, I was thinking, I'm looking forward to making like a plasma pizza, because I've been watching so many people eat all these different foods. I thought, okay, a plasma pizza will satisfy me. It'll take me just far enough to, you know, not eat obstructive foods. But then I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, everything's packed. Where is, you know, all the kitchen items that I need? And I'm sitting there, I was like, okay, I'm making myself hungry, and I'm starting to think of way too many foods because I can't make my plasma pizza. So it is my habitual. I tend to go to extremes. Everything that I'm going through today, I recognize as part of my life. I could go into detail, but I
totally understand. Okay, I have another question, because you just broke your fast. When you started this one, which was about 11 days, did you plan to do level 7 when you started it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to the extreme, and you want to do liquidarian because you ate and you don't feel good. I think liquidarian, in my opinion, is too big of a change for the majority of us. Not the majority. I really believe it's too big of a change. Take your time. You have the rest of your life. Do it in maybe 2 years from now. Do maybe 6 months of level 6 or 5. Okay, like even if you want just 1 day a week, but at least I would say, don't go into long ones. Trust me, in my opinion, because we fall on our face. I have been there way too many times, 4.5 years now. And it's not a good idea. Why do we have to push ourselves? And you didn't think about this when you were fasting and feeling good. You thought about it when you ate. And I felt it many times. That's why I asked you. I felt it many times. I ate, like over Christmas, it was a little bit heavier because it's for people. We have people over. It was my food, but it's heavier than usual. There's chickpeas, there's lentil soup. And I ate it. And then I ended up eating another day. And the second day, I ate even more than the Christmas day, okay? And then I was like, holy crap, I just want to do massive fast for the rest of my life, like level 7. And I was talking to Gino for maybe 2 hours, and he's like, you're going crazy. He's telling me, he was telling me, you're going crazy. And then I woke up the next morning, and I was like, yeah, what is wrong with me? Like extreme. We don't need to live like that. We really don't need to live like that, be gentle. It's a self-love journey at the end of the day. It's self-love. You have to learn how to be patient. You have to love yourself, learn how to love yourself, and be persistent, consistent, with it. Just show up, do the thing. If you fall, don't give up, get back on. Just stay connected as much as you can, regularly post on your post to update us every day, and you get a little bit of support there. Be here with us just to hear other people's stories, because we're all in the same boat. Do 6 months on level 5 or 6 or whatever, just 1 day a week. Listen, you're eating, if you're eating within 3 hours a day, and you're eating fruits and then clean, like let's say salad, okay, very light, your favorite, just buy the best food you can ever buy, and you're the best food you've ever eaten. Eat that food, okay, but make it clean, raw if you can, okay. With family, okay, like Christmas, prepare something clean, cooked, but clean still. So there is food for you, and there is food for them. You're being nice, and you're helping. Find a way. Do level. Right now I'm doing level 6, which is 1 day I want to eat raw food, fruits and then vegetables within 3 hours, and then another day on occasions like Easter or Christmas or whatever with Gino's family, my family, bring something, maybe a little bit, cooked, so it's a little bit more obstructive, and that's it. Have people over or whatever, go to somebody's home, and that's it. But it's mainly level 6, and it's mainly raw food. And do it for 6 months. That's the biggest challenge. How many of us are doing it for 6 months, the lifestyle? Nobody. Very few. Okay, some people have done, actually right now I'm seeing a few people doing 3 months, 4 months. Actually, David Slicker has done 6 months on maybe level 4, I think. And that's amazing. I mean, I'm sure he's been enough to tell you right now. That's exactly what I'm saying. And now I think he's going to a higher level. I think he's going to do a longer fast now, and then he's going to a higher level after that. Maybe 1 level higher or something. So do it for another 6 months. Slowly, slowly, slowly give it up. Be gentle with yourself, because it's the journey of loving ourselves and learning how to love ourselves, learning how to be patient, with your husband. Yes, let things come, observe, let's not react, like, I don't know.
It's tough around women.
Live it, love it. Ups and downs.
Yeah. And it's funny, when I was going through my struggles, not once did it occur to me to use my tools. Like, I could have gone and had a tablespoon of maple syrup, or gone for a walk, or a colima. Not once, until after I ate the food. I'm like, why didn't I do this instead? It's like,
you went through so many challenges.
There's a lot going on right now with you.
You are moving your houses, and you just went through Christmas fasting, and it's not like you're planning to fast forever. Then that's a different mindset. You went there, and you want to eat 1 day. It's not easy what you went through, and the eclipse and the whole thing.
Yeah, to put the pressure on yourself to say, okay, I'm done with food now. I don't look at it that way. Just today I'm food free, and continue with that. Tomorrow it's the same. Today I'm food free, continue. And
yeah,
it's too much pressure for somebody to make that drastic commitment that then they are gonna feel that they've failed themselves or whatever. Why put that pressure on yourself? Say, yeah, I love the feeling of being food free, and I want to experience that 1 day, and I'll move towards that goal or something like that.
Hold
Change
on.
the wording.
You are experiencing it 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you eat within 3 hours. Trust me.
yeah.
Your cravings will be minimal if you live like this. Give it 3 weeks though. It does take time. It does take patience. So give it a few weeks. It's not easy to commit to it. So at the beginning,
Yeah.
it's a little bit hard to change your lifestyle like this, because you're teasing your body with eating. Yeah. And then you go back on the fast. But you do it for a few weeks. The first few days are the hardest. Do it for a few weeks and you're totally fine. Then you'll be like, wow, I am enjoying and loving both fasting and clean eating. And I really love my clean food because it's the easiest on my body. So you will come to this slowly.
Yeah. So let me ask you something just to clarify. I am eating like today, my whole intention, I ate the watermelon within 3 hours. And then my wet window from like 7 to 7 was drinking grape juice. Is that okay
So
or not? Or
So in the protocol, I do have a little like table with the schedule. So we like to do the 12-hour dry, right, when we're eating, and then
right.
we do
Or fasting.
when we eat the eating day,
Eating
the
too,
eating
yeah.
day,
I need
the eating day, yeah, 12-hour dry, and then we do I don't remember, I think 3 hours you drink the tea, and then you drink the juice for 6 hours, something like that, and then another 3 hours, yeah, that would make 12, another 3 hours the food or something like that, I don't remember, but yeah, so you're drinking the tea, the juice, and you're drinking the whatever. Forget about what I just said. Drink your tea when you break your dry. Drink your juice. I like to drink 1 liter. I think 1 liter is enough when I eat. Drink, and then eat your food. And then I like to end the day with the tea and the tinctures, just to get me started for the next day, as if it's a fasting day, no?
Okay.
Back into the routine.
Because what I was doing is not having the tinctures or the tea on eating days.
Yeah, don't. But have the tea. Have the tea.
It's okay to have the tea.
Save the tinctures if you want to save them. I have them, but yeah, save them.
So,
yeah. And wash your colon. I wash my colon every single day.
yes, okay. So the tea and the juice with the food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Drink and then eat.
Drink and then eat. Okay, got it. Yeah, I just needed some clarification, make sure I was still doing it properly.
And when we eat,
and,
we eat the 3 hours. A fruit meal first, and then maybe wait an hour, and then eat your vegetables.
Yes, okay. And that had been my plan, is level 6. I just, with like, like as I mentioned, with the moon phases, I kept pushing it. Just,
yeah, don't push.
Okay, I'll okay.
Yeah, don't be gentle, be loving, listen, your body, you're going through so much. Even with 6 days a week of master fast, it's already a lot of changes.
Yeah.
It's almost like complete master fast. 3 hours only a week you're eating, and you're eating very light. It's fine. It's when you eat a little bit heavier, okay, that you will feel it. You won't be able to sleep as well. Your dreams will be different. You'll sweat maybe at night when you eat heavier, like let's say lentil soup, But if you keep it light, yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Enjoy everything. Enjoy seasonal fruits. I know when you eat, you don't, obstructive food. You're not right now. You're not really thinking about any of that stuff. Tomorrow morning, wash your colon, and you.
Oh yes.
You would get that meal out. Trust me, it's fine. Maybe wash it tonight if you can. Wash it tomorrow again, and then done. It's over, as if you never ate.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to go do one right now as soon as we're done here, and then again in the morning.
Yeah, you'll feel much better. As if you never ate. I know it's hard and you're not in the mood, but do it.
Yeah. And I think come Monday, Tuesday, I'll be, back on track with my living arrangements, and I can focus more on just keeping my plan.
Yeah.
Because that was my whole plan, is level 6, and
do it.
And then this happened. So
yes. Don't be hard on yourself. Just don't do it because you're angry. Don't do level 7 because you're angry. Do it because you're ready for it.
Okay.
Let go of your last meal that you love so much. Let it go. You feel like it doesn't serve you anymore. If you want to become liquidarian, let it go with peace. If you feel angry, it's not a good time to start a liquidarian lifestyle.
Okay.
And we do feel this way after eating an obstructive meal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before eating the obstructive food, I do prefer full MFS, because and the reason why may not be the greatest is just because it's simple, because I don't have to deal with the cravings. I don't have to deal with all the, you know, the difficultness of eating.
Totally, I hear you. But you know what? 3 hours a week of
Yeah,
eating is still simple. So be
that makes
subscribed
sense.
to that.
Looking at it that way, it does make sense. Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, be satisfied. Yeah. Yeah, slowly go. Liquidate level 7, you know, go for it. But give yourself 6 months of letting go of the food,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah. So you
Okay.
can say goodbye properly to all the food with
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope it helps, you know. We help each other,
Yes.
that's why we're here.
Yes, I appreciate that, because looking at it that way, it makes it, I feel like I'm accomplishing something. Knowing that I'm pretty much on full MFS, because I'm only eating, those 3 hours in 1 week. And it does feel in that sense that I'm working towards my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing great. Absolutely great. Good. Suzanne, thank you so much for the message. I hope you're doing better. Yeah. How is Scott doing?
So I started planning for 2020.
Nice.
I'm on day 2 right now. But I started by laying out pretty much the days I wanted to dry fast. I thought that was kind of like, as I started looking at the calendar, it's kind of interesting to see how the moon events kind of fall on the different days. And then, kind of going what you're saying, Angelica, I was like, some of the months I probably had some of the same concerns that you just went through right now. It's just like, oh my goodness, okay, we have our seasonal dry, we have our monthly dry, we have all the stuff. So, it just kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of at least just see from a dry fasting perspective what I wanted to do. And so what I really would like to do as far as dry fasting is concerned, that's where that's what I have planned. That's why I'm talking about it. It's not obviously the only part of the fast, but for the first, I really want to, at some time next year, I want to push myself just a little bit on the dries. I got the longest I've done. Well, the longest I did was 4 days when I started. When I started my very first fast, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like dry fasting, and day 4 came around. I was like, well, hot dang, man, I could do this forever. It seemed like, obviously, as I progressed through the 130 days, that story changed a lot. But so I've been kind of looking at that, and I've also finally had some releases that I needed. There's just, it's, hold on, sorry, my dog is kind of jumping around here. I've always had a hard time with social groups. Like, I don't mind talking with people one-on-one. One-on-one, I'm great with people, or small groups, I'm great. But like large groups of people and rules, these are not like the things I'm naturally attuned to. And so, like, over the last few months, I think I finally have had some, like, dude, even Muji will sit here and say, you need to find somebody to help you if you can't do it on your own at first, or almost anybody will say that, right? My philosophy is, if I can't do it for myself, it's not getting done. So, which is not always good. I've had to, there's been times when I've just done things on my own that were ridiculous. If I would have just had a little bit of help, it would have been much easier. the other thing I think that is going good for me right now is the whole surrender and releasing process, you know. Man, and I don't know, I know, Angelica, you're talking about your family and everything, and you know, for me personally, those were the places where I really learned the most at how to just surrender into a situation. Right. I got this, right. Yeah, you never have it. Okay, that's what I've just learned. That's what I've just learned. Seriously, like I think I'm there, then I'm just going to convince myself I'm not, so that I get that, motivation to keep going again. And I don't know if you remember George's post on the Master Fast a bit ago. You know, it was kind of a long one where he was like, you know, I've pretty much healed my whole entire body. I don't know what, you know, how fasting fits into my life and XYZ. And that's kind of where I was at too. And almost at the exact time that he put that post out there, I was kind of feeling the same way. And, you know, I legitimately just had to take the other side. I was just like, you know, Master Fast isn't for me. Why do I want to do this? You know, why do I want to keep pushing myself? Like, what's my purpose at doing this? And, man, when you really ask the question, you got to be careful, because you'll get flooded, man. Okay. But, you know, like some of the things you post on there, Rena, just about, you know, Rumi and some of his quotes and some of the fasting things. But the other thing I've really been working on is getting my own personal confirmation of things, because I think it's so easy to sit here and read something, read a post, even read a book, and you think you understand it because you accept it as truth as soon as you read it. You're like, oh my gosh, that sounds great. Boom, that's for me, right? Or, oh my gosh, that doesn't sound great and it's not for me, and it may be, you know? So what I mean by this is like, just the very simplest things. Is Master Fast good for me? And I just wanted confirmation that it was. And I got it. It is. And one day I just had this like really overwhelming feeling, you know. He's like, you know, Scott, just like when you meditate, you know, it's kind of like the clouds passing by, so to speak. That's the way Eckhart Tolle explains it. I was like, you know, this is kind of the way it is for fasting too. You know, when you learn to disassociate, and this is the hard part. I don't think we appreciate, Gino and longer term fasters do, but I don't think we appreciate the tremendous amount of energy it takes our bodies to switch from like eating to fasting, or just even calming your mind, even in meditation. You know, like, how can I meditate for 5 minutes and then all of a sudden my kid walks in the room and I want to have global nuclear war right there, you know, because he just interrupted my peaceful presence, for God's sakes, you know? So I guess what I'm saying is, as you work with these things and you start to have some of these experiences, then you also begin to become rooted in the process. And, I'm ready to keep on going at it again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But I am, Rana, going to think of how many days a week do I want to do this? You know, I might start out with like a shorter fast of like 20 days just to kind of get going, and then go to, you know, when you said 4 days, what were you saying? 4 days a week leads to like 200 days of fasting in a year.
Well, I'll do the math, right?
Oh, right. 4 times 50, right? Okay, there you go. 4 times 50. You're right. So I was kind of, when you said it like that, I was kind of blown away. I was like, holy crap. Okay. So
Fasting.
yeah, so that is a lot of fasting. And I guess, you know, for me, I just didn't really appreciate like how much effort it takes. Not only it's a threefold process, right? Your mind and your body and your spirit all kind of have to come together to support this. But 2020, I'm gonna do it. I'm not saying I'm there. I'm just saying I'm ready. That's my new thing. I'm ready. I'm just gonna come back to that ready place, you know. The other thing that sorry.
The monkey mind keeps coming into play and tries to convince us. It's just, you know, we ride through these waves, and you know, as long as we keep that focus, we'll continue. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and you know, Gino, that's one thing that's one thing I really appreciate about you, uh, is just the fact that you can have major emotional issues come up, you know, and you just find a way to drive through them. It's almost like you have a way of just saying, you know what, okay, so what, I feel a lot of anger today, or I feel upset, or I feel really happy, or I feel really whatever. It's like, this is all just an illusion.
Right.
Uh, it's taken me kind of a while, actually, to kind of learn how to deal with myself emotionally. I think Steve and I are probably an exact opposite. Like, he doesn't have really many emotional issues. I mean, like, man, the last time I had to cry was today, okay?
I know, but
You
that's
know,
the
but
beauty of all the differences between us.
right. But you know, and I personally have not seen as much stuff come out of my body as Steve has seen come out of his, you know. So you know, I think it all just, you know, like you say, I mean, there's obviously other forces at play here that kind of are guiding this whole situation and directing us. But overall, I'm feeling really good, feeling positive, and I just want 2020 to. I just want to find that balance, Ronald, like you're saying, you know, find my place, so I can continue on from there.
Are you uncomfortable sharing in the group? Are you uncomfortable sharing in the group because it's too big?
Sometimes I am. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not to do with the group. Okay, it's a lot of this stuff is just. I mean, I could go into it if you really want to, but a lot of it is just it happened from a very young age. I made personal decisions to remove myself from group situations because I felt threatened from what I wanted to achieve. And as a child and not understanding everything that is supposed to go on, you know, that's basically where it started. I was just like, screw that, man. People can't help me. How can they? Nobody can really feel what I feel. It's not like I can connect somebody into my system. A lot of times people give advice, including me, and it makes you feel good in the moment. But then when you come up against the real challenge, it's like you're there again by yourself. So this was just kind of my operational, you know, standard, was just like, I'm just going to do this alone. So one of my major goals in 2020 is to really just start sharing more and learning from that.
You know, you don't need to share too much. You really don't need to share too much. Like just starting a basic post was maybe like day 1 or day 2, and then just updating it whenever, you know, every few days if you want. Just telling us how you're feeling, but like in a line or two. And when you eat, maybe post photos of what you're eating or something, you know, just for you as well to go back and look and say, wow, I have come a long way, you know. So you're documenting it, and we are watching, like we are supporting you. We all fall, we all, like, I mean, I started one in August. I started a post in August, but how many times did I break it? It's still going. I'm still posting on it. I'm still updating it, posting photos of what I eat, posting, okay, I'm still doing well. And then, or maybe I broke it. I ate for like, I did hybrid for 2 weeks or something, you know, I took a little break. We all have emotional stuff coming up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Well, except for Steve. Sorry, Steve. No, just kidding.
Yeah, so it's okay to break it sometimes and just keep updating. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, and I still have that one post that I started. I can just keep on going with that one. So
if you want to start another one, no big deal, but just keep updating. It's all up to you. Like Oliver does it very regularly, and I love it. Like even few things, living it, loving it, you know, like nothing. I don't need to know too much about your life, you know. You deal with your own stuff, and I deal with my own. Trust me, we have a lot of stuff happening too, you know, like all the time.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, I don't think they can.
My own business as well, you know. So it's a little bit, it's too much for us. You know? We're very busy, and I, you know, still make time, enjoy, love, support people. You know, like what can you do? I mean, everybody has their own thing
Yeah,
to happen.
I'm like you, Scott, with the rules thing. I don't like rules, but if everybody lived in peace, balance, correct conduct, we wouldn't need any rules. I was
No,
thinking,
and I understand, and that's that's the real big issue, right?
yeah.
It's when people
Okay.
do nonsensical things.
So we started a group of free, open, and all that, and just people just shit on us.
You have
No,
to-
no, no, dude, because I remember when we went from posting, then you had to get the posts approved because people were just saying obnoxious things. So yeah, no, I remember some of that.
The world is a fun place.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's about respect. It's about
Yes.
respecting each other. It would be nice not to have to say anything to people, but sometimes I guess just please be respectful. Let's not like judge each other, and it can be too much. Everybody has a challenge in their lives. We don't need to hear that. I mean, we have a sign outside that I put because Gino was growing spinach, and in the summer I took some to put in a salad, okay? But one of them tasted like pea. I was like, this is like the dog pissed on the spinach. And then I had to go, I bought this sign. It says, please, it has like a dog pissing on it and like a, sign,
Yeah.
Don't piss, basically. And it says, please be respectful. And that's it. Please be respectful, like, just please be respectful. Don't pee on my lane. I would love not to put it there, but like apparently you have to do that.
It won't make a difference.
No, but a little bit of awareness, better than nothing.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Like piss on the other tree, like on the street, but not this one. I don't know.
But I will say this. I mean, I feel like Master Fast has grabbed me. Okay, so for better or for worse, even if I know for a fact, even if I decide to walk away today and never do it again, I would feel the pull back to it for a really long time. So that's what I'm trying to work with, and for me, as many of you know, I mean, I'm not on a clean diet, I mean, that was another intention I had for 2020 was just to cut out all the meat and just become and try to get close to vegan as possible. I mean, I understand what we're all saying, at the end of the day, we are fasting and purging and cleansing. So there is, something to be said for that. But at the same time, I feel like I'm finally getting grounded. I mean, I know you guys are all saying, don't eat chickpeas, lentils, and quinoa and all this stuff, but that's where I feel comfortable at right now. And I think it's a miracle because I'm not eating meat.
You start somewhere.
But by the end of 2020, I want to just get rid of it. And the funny thing is you keep talking about pushing yourself, Rana, but this letting go of meat came naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean. I have 2 dogs. I love animals, but sitting here and listening to them, how they suffer, because we eat them. I don't know if it was just because I've eaten them from a very young age. It never really bothered me. But now when I ingest the meat, I can feel the consequence in my body. And it's weird. It's like, I can't really explain it. It's like when I eat a piece of meat now, my tendency to anger increases. My tendency to just lose patience increases. Like I just don't have that same lovingness. That's the best way to say it. And so in that sense, that's providence coming along, helping out.
It's opened up your senses and you can feel.
So I don't know. I guess I'm actually kind of pretty excited about that. That I can kind of feel that now when I eat those things, because before I was just like, man, I don't even know how the heck I'm going to give this up.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Do it slowly. Take your time. It's a big change, right? So
Yeah.
slowly for yourself and for the environment as well, your family. So they are also adapting with the changes,
Yeah. And then one last thing I wanted to say to Angelica, I also cook for my family. So I feel you. I feel you on that one. I mean, sometimes it's hard, especially when they want your favorite food for dinner or something like that. You're like, oh my God, how am I going to make it through it? I mean, I get you. I feel you on that a lot.
Yeah. Eating the field side.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can. I
Well,
bet you,
why don't you?
I don't know if you've experienced, but your family said that when you prepared their meals during a fasting state, did they notice it was better?
Oh yeah. It was weird. Sometimes it was like I would cook it and I could tell just by the smell how it was going to turn out.
Exactly.
And it was really weird. I was just like, they were like, Scott, did you even taste this food? And I'm like, no. And they're like, how did you cook that? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Okay, I just didn't.
So many people, mostly mothers, have shared that because you're tapping into the fields. You have no alternative. You're not tasting it. So your senses are opened up because you're fasting, and you tap into the fields, and it comes out perfect.
And Scott, why don't you maybe make them more like vegan stuff and like clean vegan, you know?
Try to find
Oh,
out.
well, Rana, that's a great idea. In fact, earlier this month, I just asked permission to everybody. I was like, look, I don't expect you guys to cut meat out like I did, but I would like to be able to prepare some meals that don't include meat during the week. You know, even if it starts out as one or two. Yeah, but I definitely want to start taking them down that path.
Somebody else can take over the animal products if they want the animal products, but you take care of the vegan product, like food.
Right.
Because it's mainly vegan anyways, what people eat, and then they have meat on the side or something, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe you just do a few changes like this.
Yeah, instead of having a daily, move to a couple times a week, and then you slow it down to once a week, and then you slow it down every couple of weeks, and you do it gradually, and then they won't miss it as much. If you do it all at once, it's a shock to people.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You'll have to sit down and also like program how to do it best and how many days a week you want to cook. Maybe not every day, you know. Maybe
what's
do
that
bigger
last documentary about veganism? A lot of people switch with that one because it opens
the
up.
Game Changers.
Maybe that's the one. I don't know. A lot
This
of people talking about it.
Yeah.
No, I did watch that, and ironically, that really hit home for me. It talked my language, I guess, in a certain way, but what I couldn't believe really was after one meal, that's all they did is one meal. They didn't say, let's change our diet for 30 days. It was like one meal. After one meal of eating meat, and then a whole bunch of stuff. And then one vegan meal, let's measure a whole bunch of stuff. And the energy flow when you remove meat, there's just no argument there. And the other thing that really just kind of I'm not going to joke you. This is probably one fact, and it just blew my mind. 1 pound of beef, ground beef, requires 2,400 liters of water to create.
Oh yeah.
And when you think about the amount of our water and food supply, I think they said something like 65% goes to animals
for food consumption.
That's crazy.
Right. And so then you're just thinking, oh, okay, so now I've got to I've got to grow a bunch of corn and grain, harvest it, then I've got to take it somewhere, then they're going to package it up into some kind of meal or something like that, and then they're going to drive it out to the farm and deliver it, and then the cattle is going to eat that and then consume additional water and additional resources, and then plus you have all the, I don't know, just part of the whole growing up animals was just the toll that it takes on our planet is actually quite amazing.
It is wrong. Yeah.
It's only for our selfish needs we've been doing that. That's all it is.
Yeah, we have to also question. We really have to question everything that we're doing, even like let's say quinoa or whatever other stuff as well. Chickpeas, how much harm to the planet is this doing? And what is the better way what is more eco-friendly way of eating, we really want to. It's important to simplify our lives. You know.
Yeah, the planet's moving in the directions little by little. It's opened up. I think this next year is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. Clearer vision.
New
The
Year's.
information is all out there. The fields are out there.
Yeah.
So we have to watch the slow motion realm manifest it.
Right. Well, that was the other kind of cool thing about looking over the year, right? I mean, you're like, I don't know, I guess I'm not a real heavy planner, obviously, okay, guys, but I started looking at every month and everything. I was like, oh, no wonder people start to plan this stuff out. It's just
look
like,
at
I
all
don't
the
know.
crop failures over the globe this year. It's incredible. It's going to change no matter what.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
in China alone, they lost 50% of their pig population. That's like
Whoa.
double what we produce in the whole year. I mean, there's some
Wow.
serious issues coming down with the food chain. That,
Yeah.
and all the crops, especially here, are all the feedstock. It's not what we can do. All these crops that have failed are what they feed to the animals. So I mean, this
Right.
whole thing is just going to snowball like this. It's going to be crazy this year coming. Prices are going to skyrocket. People are going to have to find a different way to eat.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that kind of that kind of impacted me a bit too after watching that movie is, you just like, let's say you just sat down and ate a 16-ounce steak. How much of that does your body actually absorb and use?
No.
Let's just say it uses a portion of that, right? Let's just say it uses a half an ounce of that. Go look at how much a 15.5 ounce steak costs, and it's coming right out your backside. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's starting to make less and less sense to me, which is good. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Good start. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there. You can have your family watch. Did your family watch that movie or that documentary?
Yeah, no, my wife watched it with me. So yeah, and I want Gabriel to watch it as well.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Just show by example and move in the direction slowly. And
is she interested, your wife?
Well, she grew up vegetarian, so she is interested. She is interested. It's just a matter of just kind of making that transition again.
Yeah, that's good. When the two parents are changing, the kids, just tell them this is the food. They have no choice.
Right.
How old are they?
Well, Gabriel is 12. He's
Okay.
going to turn 13 this summer. He's my youngest. My oldest is out of the house now. He just moved out over this last year, so.
Okay.
He's 21.
Okay, and so that 12 is the older one after, the eldest one after, like 12.
The next one would be my daughter Cassie, and she is 17.
Ah, okay. So she would be a little bit harder maybe to change.
Yeah.
17.
Although she has probably eaten healthier than most of us most of her life, just because she's danced and she's wanted to take care of her body. So
very good.
I think she recognized the food she ate impacted her recovery.
For sure.
So
Good.
Okay, man. We're well over 3 hours now.
Awesome.
Good Zoom.
It's a good Zoom, yeah.
We can
You
wrap
guys
it
are
up.
doing amazing.
Amrita.
We really are all
Thank you, Amrita.
Amrita, that was beautiful. If you're still there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Thank you.
Love it.
It's awesome to have the family together and discuss things, and this is what it's all about. Help us, inspire and support each other. And that's all we can do.
Thank you, Suzanne.
It's very difficult, as we all find, with our families, friends, and everything else. So this is a way that we can find that support, inspiration to keep going. And something we believe in because we know what it makes us, how it makes us feel. And we continue. Thank you all. Let's keep that laugh flowing.
Love you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Euros and David.
Thank you again, Amrita, for your time.
Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you, Amrita.
All right.
Ciao.
You guys.